Not a Friday, but here I am. I'm Rob Birdsey. Oh, wow, I did that. Stop that. Fade that. Sorry about that, guys. A bit rusty here. It's been a hot minute since I've been in the studio. I went on vacation and left my head there. I'm Rob Birdsey. This is Widow, Trio and Freedom. Welcome to this show. I have a banger for you today. It's with a local guy. His name's Josiah Simpson. First of all, before we get into that though, if you want to watch us live, you can go to Widowed, Trio and Freedom on the YouTube. So Widowed, I'm a widowed dad. Trio, I have two little boys. Freedom, I talk these stories, so hopefully I'll get some freedom, you'll get some freedom. Maybe we can help each other grow. Josiah, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
I've met you recently through my kids joining your gym.
That's right.
The gym that you train in, and you're a professional fighter too, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I can't even begin to tell you that watching the journey for my kids going from the first time they walked into a gym to the second time that they changed gyms to get a better product, and then from there that product he dissolved his gym, and now we've come into yours, and I honestly believe. Things happen for so many reasons. I literally started a job right beside you guys, which I deliver packages in the evening. I call it the Box Factory.
Yeah.
And like I didn't even know where Empire was. Empire for MMA. And I was like, as soon as I started, I think it was the same week when I knew I had to find another gym for the kids because they at this stage the bugs bit them and they want to go.
Right.
And it just rolled out. It's funny how life does that, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing that we're trying to overcome right now with Empire is we've been here for a long time and a lot of people just don't seem to know that we even exist. People are like, oh, I want to train MMA in Cedar City. I wish there was a gym. And then they're like, oh, actually there is a gym in Cedar City. So a little bit, off the beaten path a little bit, but yeah, I think more and more people are starting to find out about us and hopefully I can continue that trend.
Yeah.
So.
The thing I love about it the most is my kids have been mostly into jiu-jitsu. So that's all they've been doing, but they haven't trained on every single day or whatever the case was. But now you guys have a gym that you guys are training every day.
That's right. Yeah, Monday through Friday.
Yeah. And for adults, it's what time is it for the adults? Is it for 6:30?
Yeah, the adult classes run from 6:30 to 9. So there's a class that runs 6:30 to 8 and then 8 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's always a good mix. We do like a grappling class and then a striking class, or a striking class and then a grappling class.
Nice. And but you got to have that availability. I think that's just fantastic. Especially like for people like myself, I can go to a gym, but man, I find that so boring. I want to be active, you know what I mean? And I love being active. So I think anyone out there that's trying to, get a bit of a look at a gym that might suit you better, even if you don't have any experience, everyone that I met in your gym has been so nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
No one's eyeballed me. No, and usually where I go places, I usually get eyeballed quite a bit. There's always someone want to test me. I don't know why, but it's hilarious. I just look at them like, hey man, we're cool.
They hear the accent, they're like, oh, where's this guy from?
Yeah, what's going on there? Yeah, no, it's a fun scenario, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I commend you on that. I don't want to just talk about the gym. I just wanted to let people know how I come across to meet you.
For sure.
And I know some of the fighters in your gym. It's a good thing. We'll get back to that. But let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
So I was born in Southern California. Pretty typical story, I guess. Ended up here in Utah. It seems like there's a lot of Californians here. So I'm not one of the bad ones, I promise. Not that, I don't know.
Honestly, man, I think it's inevitable. And if anyone's got a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you. You guys got the world's best kept secret here in Cedar City. However, the problem is people are being pushed out of California, man.
Yeah.
And there might be some tricky ones coming out of there, but there's a lot of good people in Cali. I've lived in Cali. The people have been very nice to me.
Yeah.
I can't bash on Cali at all. I bash on the people that are running it right now. They run it right into the ground.
Yeah, that is pretty rough. I mean, we moved out of California when I was 10, so I didn't really grow up in California. I actually grew up in like rural northwestern Idaho. So I grew up in the country, like on a 15 acres, like 20 minutes outside of town. That was kind of how I grew up.
Whereabouts
so.
in Idaho?
A little town called Priest River, which is about an hour from Spokane, Washington. That's like the closest landmark that people know.
Right at the top there.
Yeah, and about an hour from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, as well, which is like,
Yeah.
that'd be the other one that people know in that area. But it's beautiful up there.
It's gorgeous. I've driven through there. It's a bit of mountainous there, and
Yeah.
you're sort of on the edge of Canada and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Very mountainous, very heavily forested, a lot of moose, a lot of grizzlies.
Oh, man.
It was a fun place to be a kid, though.
You know, I have a story about a grizzly once. I was cruising along. My first wife and I had decided to leave Logan, Utah, and we moved up to Whitefish, Montana. Well, she moved. I didn't. I still had a business I was closing down, and I was still going to school. Anyway, I would drive up there to see her.
Yeah.
And I had a big truck, so I just get a rental car and go. You know, it was just easier. So I grabbed this rental car on this one trip, and I'm hauling up there, man, because there's nothing out there. You know what I mean? I'm cruising fast too.
Sure.
And I'm coming into a place where there's a massive hill on one side and a like a slough off the other side.
Yeah.
And all I remember is like when you're driving fast. I'm not going to say how fast I was driving, but it was pretty quick. Nothing was out there. It was just a 2-lane highway. And I'm looking way down the end, and out of the blue, this big grizzly. Oh, I saw him look up, and I literally watched his train of thought of, oh yeah, there's a car coming. I can make it. And no joke, man, I didn't realize how big they were until that day,
Yeah.
because he jumped one step into the middle of the road, and then another step, and he was already off the freeway. And just as I was going fast enough that I caught him, but as I caught him, I'm watching him walk up, and I'm mind blown how big he is. That hump in his back and how big this burly.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was nuts.
Yeah,
and
pretty crazy.
I figured, man, if you ever get caught with a grizzly, good luck, because that thing is not going to stop.
Yeah, I'm happy we don't have them here. I mean, I'm a hunter. I hunt quite a bit here in Utah, and I've run into black bears out in the woods. But I mean, they're so small, especially around here. It's not something to worry about.
You can scare them away.
Sure, and I have, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that was mind blowing. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool. But it's beautiful up that area.
Yeah.
So you got to grow up there in your heyday, I suppose.
Yeah, from 10 to about 15. So, like I said, it was a perfect time to be a little kid, a boy, you know, because we just spent, like I came from a big family, a lot of, I'm the second oldest of 9, and I have like 5 younger brothers. So we were just like this little tribe of wild men running around in the woods and making spears and javelins and
I think that's fantastic.
teepees out of tree branches and stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you have mom and dad in the house?
Yeah, like I said, we lived pretty rural. Like I said, 15, 20 minutes outside of town, so it was mostly just us. I mean, my dad worked, obviously, but yeah, my family was all mostly in the same place most of the time, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your first memory?
First memory, like ever?
Oh, whatever comes to mind. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or ugly, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being a kid in San Bernardino, Southern California. We lived in like a little cul-de-sac, so just like a little roundabout. We don't have a whole lot of cul-de-sacs here, I guess, maybe a few. But there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so it was nice. Like, obviously, 9 of them lived with me, but every other house seemed to have a kid or two, and we'd all just kind of play in the middle of the street, you know, ride our bikes, build ramps and jumps and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of my earliest memories, being a kid. But I have a lot of good memories of living up there in Idaho.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
So.
Idaho, there's everything you can do.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Idaho, actually. I love going up there. I have a good friend up there, and we go kayak. I actually haven't even been this year, which is kind of sad, really. But we go kayaking up there. The rivers up there are phenomenal, the Snake and all that sort of stuff. We went down the Blackfoot up there, and that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I live not far from the Pend Oreille River, which is a big like tributary river of the Columbia. So a lot of great fishing, boating, everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was just such a good place to be a kid.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can get onto that.
Yeah.
So you're a hunter, you're a fisherman, and all around just having fun with spears and things. I like that.
Yeah.
What at a young age, as you're coming up and through, did you play any sports, or what got you what piqued your interest?
Well, I mean, I think growing up with a bunch of brothers, you guys are always going to be competitive with each other to a certain point. And my mom was actually a good basketball player, and yeah, she used to play my dad like in the driveway out in our house, and then at a certain point, I think I was probably 6 or 7, I remember my dad stopped playing basketball with my mom because she would always beat him, and the neighbors would sit out in their driveways and watch, and he was like, I'm done with this. So,
Oh,
but she
wow.
was a good basketball player. They're both good athletes. My dad was in the Army as well. So yeah, the first sport that I ever played was basketball in middle school, and I was terrible. I was not a good basketball player, but I had good endurance, good cardio. So, there were coaches that wanted me to go and run cross country. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So, but I always wrestled around with my friends. We'd have friends over at the house and stuff, and we'd always kind of just like clear all the furniture out of the living room and Royal Rumble style, and we didn't
love
know
that.
anything. We didn't know what we were doing at all, but we'd just kind of grab onto something and try to throw each other down. And it seemed like even with my older friends, I always managed to get the better. I mean, like I said, we didn't know what we were doing. There was zero technical skill involved whatsoever, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And I guess I seemed to have an edge even then. So I always wanted to get into it. And then it wasn't until we moved from Idaho to Denver, Colorado. This was like 2008, 2009, right after the economy crashed, we were forced to relocate, but I was able to get into a school there and start wrestling. I started late. I was a sophomore in high school when I started wrestling, but that was like my first introduction to anything like formal martial arts, combat sports related at all.
Something
Was
competitive.
yeah, high school wrestling.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did the same thing growing up. We had these couches that would all click into each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd pull the big. I mean, these were really cool because they had really solid backs on them, and they were quite tall.
Yeah.
So we'd actually get on top of those. We'd lay all the other. So the whole thing, the whole living room was just a big cushion, basically, except
Yeah.
for the hard bits on the wooden bits. We smashed them and broke them so many times. We'd jump off the top and just smash each other. And I was the smallest out of everyone. So and most of my neighbors, they were older or more athletic than me, and it was fun. It was great times. I think those. I mean, I got in so much trouble for it too, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
I come over here in 2006, and I was driving trucks. I was over here on a work visa, which I absolutely loved. I started in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I remember going through. It was 2000. It was in 2006 actually, going through Denver, and in places over there, man. Denver was a write-off. Like, it was
Really?
not a real pretty place. And I think it wasn't until once they legalized the cannabis,
Yeah.
the revenue they got up from that, like you go there now, it's so clean.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Everything is really perfect. Like, they've got the money to spend. Where the thought that come to mind, what was that shooting that they had there? That was a bad scenario.
Columbine.
But that makes sense to me. Like, being there, I mean, where I was in a truck and I was loading up the next morning or whatever, you could hear gunshots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's wild. That's so wild, And I come over from Australia, we don't hear none of that, And the only time unless you go to a gun range, which you had to have a certain license for, and you had to have a no criminal record and the whole gamut,
Sure.
which was fun. I mean, I did that. And whenever we transported our guns, we have to have 2 lock boxes fixed to your trunk of your car. Well, we call it a boot over there. And you'd put your gun in one, the pin out of the gun with the bullets in the other locked.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? Like, that's how
Very
how
regulated.
serious they took it over there.
Yeah.
But we had a mass murder, and it was horrible, and that's when they changed all the laws. But anyway, I just remember, so you would have come into Denver at an age and at a time where they were really starting to turn it around, because I think cannabis was legal by then, or it was at least medically legal.
So I remember when they legalized it recreationally it was 2012, because I was in boot camp at the time in the Marine Corps, and a drill instructor asked me where I was from, and I told him Colorado, and he was like, oh, and then he started talking about my state, and you guys just legalized weed. I was like, I had no idea, because you're in boot camp, you're, you know, insulated from everything. You have no idea what's going on in the outside world, but that was where I found out about it, I remember, on the rifle range. And he told me that had happened. And then, when I would go back to Colorado periodically to visit, and I started to see the changes that you're talking about as more revenue was generated for the state. I haven't been back in a while because most of my family's moved out of there, but I do remember seeing it grow a lot. I think to this point it's gotten very expensive.
It's so expensive to live there, and I mean, but it's beautiful. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
Like, I remember from the first time being there, I would not walk down the street at night. But now you could go on a pub crawl and have a great time and feel very secure. The places, they've done really good. I mean, it's I think, hey, why not? You know, if they want to do it, legalize it, and then, you know, tax them. You know, which they've done,
They have.
and it's cleaned their city up. Which are big ups to them because they couldn't do it. They could have done it without it. They didn't have it. You know what I mean? And that place was going backwards.
Yeah.
So it was just a fun juxtaposition to see that. And I touched on it just to see if you knew, you know, because that was right around that time. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess I was a kid. You know, when we first moved out there, I was about 15, and most of that stuff just wasn't even really on my radar. So, I have seen the changes though that you were talking about since moving away and then coming back and being able to spend more time downtown and just kind of seeing what the city's like and doing some of those pub crawls you were talking about.
Yeah, right on. So, I just want to touch on it. I know you've had a bit of a rough upbringing. You know, I don't want to say too much. That you know, say what you want to say. I'm sure.
For sure.
Do you have a good relationship with your parents now and all that?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. But.
So I know that what led you to the military, and because you joined the military at a very very young age, right?
Right out of high school, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's so wild. Hey, you know, what I mean, I think if
people don't do that in Australia.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
Absolutely. The difference in Australia is like once you're 18, you're a man. You know what I mean? And you can go to a bar, you can drink, you can, you know. And I think it does a lot for the community. Some people aren't ready at 18, and some people aren't ready at 21. But I've noticed a difference with that. I mean, people at bars will really sort you out pretty quick in Australia if you're a bit of an idiot. Well, I know I got thrown out of there a couple of times. Yeah,
So it's a self correcting problem then, youthful impetuousness.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. What really led you to do that? Like, what was it?
To join the military?
Yeah, I know you probably got some influence from Dad, right? Because he was in the military.
Yeah, I mean, probably to a certain extent, maybe just not so much of like a spoken thing. I mean, my dad was in the military for a very short time, like similar to me, like a single enlistment in the Army, and that was like long before I was born. So it wasn't something that I saw growing up, but I knew that he was a veteran. I knew my grandpa as well was a veteran. He was an officer in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I want to say he was like an artillery officer. I don't
Wow.
really know exactly, but yeah, so I'm sure that some of that influence kind of loomed in my brain a little bit. But the big thing for me is, you know, by the time I was 16, 17, honestly before that, but things in my family really just started to fall apart. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I grew up pretty sheltered. I was homeschooled, which was actually really good for me. I feel like it's served me well, and I learned a lot, maybe more than I would have in a public school.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love homeschooling. Me and my wife, like, we want to homeschool our kids when they're old enough as well, and that's a big part of why we structure our life the way that we do now, so that we have time to like spend with our kids. But yeah, I mean, not to get too much into talking about religion or anything like that, but I think my parents just had these pretty like I don't want to say like oppressive, but kind of sort of. They had a pretty narrow view of the world, and I think they kind of lived under a lot of like shame from their own past and stuff like that, and it started to bleed into the way that they interacted with each other and with us kids. And just as I started to get older, things were pretty explosive, pretty abusive, and it just got pretty bad eventually. So by the time I was 17, 18, college wasn't really on my radar. I mean, I know I'm a smart guy. I wasn't really told that a whole lot growing up, but my parents never told me that I could go to college, or they didn't even care if I did my homework or anything. At a certain point, it was just like, when you're just worried about surviving, you're not really dreaming or envisioning much for the future.
I will say something in their defense. It sounds like, because I mean, the mind, man, it's like a mind jiu-jitsu thing, you know what I mean? Like, we hold on to these beliefs and what we've come through, and man, it's been the same for me. It's honestly, it's not been an easy road. You know, I'm used to yelling and screaming and very, very heavy-handed, and you know what I mean? Like, it was just so silly.
Yeah.
But that ingrains you, and then you start believing it, and then you live it, and then so I'm sure they're just beating themselves up I think that's the best thing about going to therapy is you learn to talk those stories through, and you got to release.
Yeah. There's a saying that I like a lot, which is like, when you're a kid, you forget that you're also watching your parents grow up. because they're, you know, I'm the age that my parents were when I was a kid, and in some ways, I still feel like a kid, you know. So you're never done growing up, and I think you forget to give them grace as a kid, because you know, you just kind of expect them to have it all figured out, and then you get older and you realize that nobody's got it really all figured out. So I have, you know, a lot of grace for them and for the mistakes that were made. Unfortunately, at this point, like, I've lost all contact with my mom, and my dad's actually in jail. So
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, they made choices. They're people, and I don't hate them for it. But it's you know, I wish things were different, but they're not, and just kind of have to accept it. Yeah.
It's the same for me, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes stuff happens, and it's
yeah.
just, that's life. And it either breaks you, or you learn how to overcome it, how to incorporate it, you know, how to
Yeah.
become a better person from it. And that's what I've tried to do. And I've had a lot of good people along the way that have helped me with that. Like you said, some therapy, some just good friends and mentors, and, you know, even my wife as well. We've been together now. It'll be 6 years in December. I think they're watching right now at home. My wife and the kids probably have us pulled up on YouTube. So hi, Leilani. Hi, Koa. Hi, Ella.
I met your family yesterday, and just like I was saying before, the synergy that you guys have with each other is very beautiful.
Thank you.
And you got another one on the way too, right?
Yeah, we have a little baby boy that's going to be due in December. So right around the time of our anniversary, he should be born. Maybe just before that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your wife is so teeny tiny with his.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I think it's beautiful. I think family is everything.
Yeah.
One thing happened with my mother once. She called me out of the blue when I was over here, and she's super upset. I believe she was crying at the time, and she's like, "I just don't understand why no one's here. You guys are all moved away." And it's like, man, you were never in our world when we were there. Why would you ever expect us to be around now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she gave, and I don't hate any of it at all, actually. I'm a bit disappointed in some ways because my mum's so smart, man. She's so smart and she's so brilliant. When you chat with her and you just feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's a turn on and turn off thing, you know, and it's very self-centered in some ways. And you know, the way how she grew me, I had to figure out everything. Like I'm forever in my kids' ears, like, hey, and I tell them, I use the factor of this is out of your pay grade, but I'll take you to this edge. You know what I mean? It's about this, but we're not going to get into the rest of it.
Sure.
But I'll give them the gist of what things are in life and how things work, and I try to keep it so it's PG enough for them, but I don't want to not have information for them too.
No, it's like you want to have difficult conversations at an appropriate level for their age and their ability to understand. You don't want to make it sound like, oh, we just can't talk about these things. You're not enough. You're not going to understand, because you got to give them room to like grow into it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a big thing. Is like people they expand into the trust that you give them. You know.
Yeah.
Typically, right? It's like if you give people room to grow into, they'll do it. You know, like I've always been pleasantly, you know, pleasantly surprised by people's ability to like. Kids understand so much more than maybe what some people think they do.
Man.
You know.
So you're bang on. My boy yesterday, we got I think I told you about it yesterday actually. We got a thing from the school that they do a test at the end of like last year or whatever. Or last, you know, it's kind of weird because in Australia we start at the year, we end at the year. Where in America it's half because of the way winter and everything works. But the last semester there in third grade, they did a test, and he tested into the 99th percentile. And his old teacher said, "Did you hear about that? He's got a letter coming home."
That's
awesome. It's like, "Oh, we're not received that letter yet." And I said, "What is it?" And she explains it. I don't know if I've got the full understanding of it. But then when I saw his other teacher this morning, she's like, "Yeah, there's only like 10 kids in this whole school that are at that point."
That's awesome.
They're doing some extra classes, and it's not much, but it's at least acknowledgement. Yeah. I mean, not that I didn't know this about Jack, because Jack is such a smart little kid. Like,
yeah, he's very well spoken.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, isn't it great? He and I get him in the studio. We could. It's so good.
It shows. Yeah.
Doesn't want to talk.
I'm sure it'll come with time too.
Yeah, it will. I don't know. I mean, and I'm okay with it. I push him in some places and make him do it because I want him to know it. You know, I want my kids to know their worth, and I want them to know that they can speak. You know, I'm a huge advocate for pushing them to, like, if we're at anywhere in the street and we see a cop, you know, I'll make them go up, shake their hands. G'day, sir. How you doing? You know what I mean? And
That's awesome.
it just knocks that edge of, you can trust this guy. You know what I mean? Because so many people get grown up with, don't trust them, or, you know, or don't talk to authority.
Yeah.
If we go into the doctors, I don't say a single thing. You tell him what's going on, I'm good. From like the age of 2, my son's like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he spits it out, and I think it's a good thing to do that. It trains them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, right?
Yeah, it's like you said that you can trust this guy, but it's also you can trust yourself.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And that's huge.
Yes, yeah, it's a good thing. So that's where Jack gets all that from. Plus, he's, you know, I'll stick my head in. He's either looking up how volcanoes work, or what's this about jet engines, and I think he's into rocket science right now. And I'm like, dude, you could do all those things. He's top of his class for math and things like that. And he's
That's
like,
awesome.
I would love to be a rocket science, or he wants to go into he would love to run a lab.
Okay.
I mean, he's a 9-year-old kid, and I said to him, dude, if you run a lab, we're going to build a YouTube channel about testing products and how they lie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would love to do that. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just sick of how we get so duped in all the fluff these days. It just really, it gets up my goat, you know.
How do you mean exactly?
Well, just we're all looking for ways of. I mean, most of us are going through some sort of autoimmune disease that we don't know anything about, and autoimmune disease is such a blanket for everything that they know nothing about.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it seems like now the arrows are starting to come back to parasites is probably the biggest thing, and even now, from what I have learned is. Even cancer is apparently caused by parasites. It's the waste from parasites within us.
Interesting.
You know, and I mean, it's a toxicity thing, you know, that we're building and building and building, you know, and the body has no way of getting rid of it. And like hard metals, and also, there's so much, man. I hate that, I love that I learn all this stuff, and I mean, I've been just taking care of my diet.
Yeah.
And I've lost so much weight, man. I feel amazing. I'm 46 years old, and I know I'm in probably some of the best shape I've ever been in most of my adult life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, of course you're fit. 'Cause everyone's fit when you're a kid, right?
You can eat anything.
Yeah, you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
But as you grow older, it's, you know, I've changed everything with how I do it, and I feel a million bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a scientist or anything like that. That's, you know,
Nor am I.
far outside of my wheelhouse. But it is amazing, like you're saying, how many things come back to, like really just based on nutrition at a certain point, eating good foods and not eating crap. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, everybody knows this. We've kind of beaten this horse to no end at a certain point, but there's just so much crap in our food here in America. So
Yeah.
You have to be maybe more selective than you should have to be to avoid some of the things that you just shouldn't be eating. But no, I found that for myself, because obviously, like, as a fighter, I had to start taking my nutrition very seriously. And like early on in fighting, there's no money in fighting. There's zero money in fighting. So it's not like you are able to really hire and pay a nutritionist to like prepare everything for you. So I just had to do all that for myself. But I have found, like, the better I am about those things, like, it's night and day difference, you know? So
From when you started going into fighting, what are you 6'2"? What height are you?
yeah, somewhere between 6'2" and 6'3".
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what weight were you at when you were in the beginning?
So I started like right at the tail end of my time in the military. My last duty station, I got stationed in San Diego, California, which, if you know anything about like the martial arts world, San Diego is the absolute mecca for martial arts training, especially jiu-jitsu, but really for martial arts and MMA as well. So I couldn't have landed in a better place, sort of, you know, not by accident, but just because the Marine Corps told me. But I was a fan of the sport growing up, like throughout high school. I was watching fights on YouTube and stuff. And at that time, it was guys like GSP and Anderson Silva and John Jones before he.
They were wild fights too, huh?
Wild fights. But yeah, and to me, those guys were like mythical figures to a certain point. Like I watched one of the fights that stands out to me a lot is Anderson Silva when he fought Forrest Griffin. And yeah, if you haven't seen that fight, go watch it. Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin. But it was like he was in the Matrix. Like we'd never seen head movement like that in MMA. Just couldn't be touched by a single punch. Throws kind of like a little pawing jab as he's going backwards and knocks Forrest out. And it was just like, oh my God, like this is unreal. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I always loved the sport. And I remember watching it and thinking like, yeah, I know these guys are skilled. I know they're very technical. But I don't see them doing anything that I couldn't learn how to do. You know, I felt like I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm athletic. Like I could learn how to do this stuff. And that was always kind of just in my mind. I wrestled throughout high school. I got hurt senior year, so I wasn't able to finish out the season. But, you know, I was kind of dabbled in jiu-jitsu. Like I would kind of drop in and take a class here and there, like when I got a chance. And it's kind of hard to be like in a gym consistently when you're moving around in the military. So I wasn't for a long time, but by the time I got to San Diego, I was like, you know what? I'm in a good place. Like, I just want to try it. I just want to try it. So
Yeah.
I, with a high school wrestling background, and essentially that was it, I started hitting up promoters. This is before I ever even walked into an MMA gym. I started hitting up promoters in Southern California, like looking for an MMA fight. And so I got one, and I spent 3 months training with a boxing coach because I knew I had zero striking. But yeah, shout out to my first boxing coach, Jacob Sanchez. He's a good friend of mine. I was friends with his nephew, Roman, if you're watching too. What's up, buddy? But anyways, yeah, he connected me with his uncle Jacob, who's a great boxing coach, and we worked together. And then I ended up winning that fight by knockout in the first round, and I was hooked after that. I thought it was just going to be like a one and done thing, like I was going to fight once and then, you know, just move on. Like, okay, yeah, that's all I wanted out of that. But no, I was hooked. So after that, I got into a good gym.
So how was that fight? So you won?
Yeah, I won.
Wow.
Just with like really rudimentary. The nice thing like starting out is I knew so little that I just did the things that I knew how to do. So just a stance and a good stiff jab. And when he tried to close the distance, I just wrestled him and then knocked him out on the ground. So, but like I said, after that I was hooked. So I was like, okay, I got to get into a gym. I got to start training. So that was like late 2017. I started training at the Arena, which is an MMA gym in San Diego. And that's when I started consistently training jiu-jitsu as well.
What weight were you?
That first fight I think was light heavyweight. So coming out of like my time in the military, you know, I don't want people to get the wrong idea in their heads when I say I was in the Marine Corps. I was not like infantry. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was a mechanic. I worked in aviation. So I had like a job where I would go work during the day. I'd have a lunch break. I could go get a lift in at the gym. I was eating great food at the chow hall every day. And
You're very lucky.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. And, you know, I knew enough about nutrition and I had enough like options there for me that I was like eating salads, eating lots of lean proteins, and I was like 210 pounds just shredded. So I was a lot bigger when I started. And then as I started training more martial arts and prioritizing that, I started to drop weight, and then I eventually settled at 185 is where I'm at now. I've fought as low as 170, but I think for me the best fit is 185 pounds.
Well, we're around the same weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little dense.
If you want to fight, let me know. No.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
That'd be. I mean, I'm going to come train with you guys for sure, though.
Awesome.
I'm definitely down for that. Maybe you can teach me something, you know.
Yeah.
I know we've skipped over a whole lot, and I definitely want to talk about the marine stuff. So don't people, sorry out there. I know it's kind of eclectic and we bounced around. I was just curious as far as where your health went.
Yeah.
And now, so you know, you've dropped a lot of weight to get to where you're at now, but now you're on it. We could talk about this a little bit more, and then we'll go back to the marine stuff because I'm fascinated. I just think that's so cool to go join the military.
Yeah.
I tried, but for the position that I wanted, I couldn't get it, and it was out of my reach at the time because I had already gone over a certain age for flying planes and stuff.
You tried to join the military in Australia or
No,
here?
here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, for America. Just when I first come over, it was something that I was thinking about. I mean, I was thinking about it way before I even come here, to be honest with you. I had some friends that had come here and joined the military, and I believe they're still with it too, actually, to be honest with you.
Oh, awesome.
But they're really high up, and it's kind of fun. It's just it's got a great structure, you know. And anyway, we can talk about that later. What have you done? What does your day look like as far as when do you eat? How do you eat? Are you always eating, or do you fast a little bit too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate at this point, and it hasn't always been this way. When I first started training, well, I was in the military still, so I had it way better, I think, than I even realized at the time because it was just like, oh, I've got a good job, I've got good food right there all the time, plenty of time to rest. Like, it was awesome. Then I got out of the military early 2018, and I was living in San Diego, which is very expensive. So all of a sudden I'm working all the time. I'm working for a tile company, delivering, throwing bags of concrete around and stuff like that. And it was hard work. So I was doing that just to be able to rent a single bedroom in a house with 5 other guys, just to survive in San Diego, California. So
Oh, man,
at the time,
that's
yeah,
expensive.
it can be very difficult, to be trying to work full time and train full time to be like a high level athlete. So at this point, I'm in a place where I get to coach full time, and that's my job. And then outside of that, like, I'm with my family. I get to be at home. I have plenty of time for like my workouts. I do my strength and conditioning in the morning, and I eat all my food at home. So my wife's a great cook, and
Do you focus on more meats and proteins versus vegetables or fruits?
it kind of depends on where I'm at within a fight camp. So like right now, I've got a fight coming up in October 3rd up in Salt Lake City. So I'm about 6 weeks out, and at this point, like, I just prioritize a pretty well-balanced diet. So yeah, lots of fruits and vegetables and things like that. The micronutrients is super important, like, just for overall health and immune health and things like that. So I'm making sure that I eat like a pretty well balanced diet, but and protein is definitely a big part of that. I think the one that a lot of people don't think about as much is carbs, like good, clean carbohydrates. I know carbs kind of get demonized when we talk about like weight loss and stuff like that, but if you're an athlete and you're trying to perform at a high level and be explosive when you need to be explosive, carbohydrates are just absolutely essential. So
That's gas in the gas tank.
it's gas. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. It's
yeah.
fuel in the muscles. It's that
Yep.
glycogen in your muscles. So for me, it's a lot of things like white rice, potatoes. I try to stay away from bread and pasta and stuff like that because they just don't agree with me. But
Same, yeah. Gluten is ruined. Yeah, over here, pasta is garbage.
it's rough. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The flour is no good at all too. I wish we would change that. I really hope they do because you can go anywhere in the world, mostly anywhere in the world, and flour is different.
Yeah.
Bread in Australia is different. You can buy a loaf of bread if you don't eat it or freeze it within 2 or 3 days.
It's bad.
It's hard as rock.
Yeah.
Same in Italy and same in I think London's similar to England. They're very similar, but their formulas of breads and things. This is so much better. Like you feel better, and it's
Yeah.
kind of sad too because I never changed nothing when I first come over here, and I come over and I was probably. I would say I was probably about 165, 169.
Yeah.
And within 3 months, man, I blew up 200.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't change nothing,
Yeah.
which goes to show what was in the food. And now I do fast quite a bit. Well, I'm not strict with the fasting, so I love my tea in the morning. You know what I mean? I used to drink coffee, but that upsets my stomach, so I changed that.
Yeah.
I have my tea, a bit of half and half in there, a bit of honey. So that's really all I'm having in the mornings. But I
Okay.
won't eat a solid meal until probably around like anywhere between 1 to 3 p.m. And then I'll eat, and then I'm eating a steak, and
Yeah.
I'm eating 3 eggs,
There you go.
some good cheese. I'll throw. So I like broccoli, and broccoli does some good things for me. If I have some rice, I'll throw some rice in there, and then usually whatever we do for dinner at night. But always, if I'm doing, we ate pasta last night, but it's always gluten free.
There you go. Yeah.
But even that's not really great. It's not where it needs to be, and I just hope they change that. But I do 2 meals a day, and that's it, and I feel amazing for my age.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what your goals are. I would never say that there's like a one size fits all as far as nutrition and meal planning and like timing and everything. It's different for whatever your activity level is and whatnot. But for me, because I have to eat for a certain target weight. I can't just be like, oh, whatever size I am and I'm good. But I'm eating pretty constantly throughout the day, at least every couple of hours or so, and making sure that it's roughly within the right ratios of like the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, and then, you know, the right amount of fats. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Plus, you're burning energy all throughout the day.
yeah.
You know, you got a full workout schedule every single day. My kids said that you're the funniest guy they've ever trained with. They
Oh,
love
that's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
But you're really inspiring too. It's
Thank you.
Jack was saying he's really inspiring, Dad. Like I just want to do more with him. You know, it just you'll throw this out there, you'll throw that out there, and you even build. You did this the other day, and I was watching. You built in kids with wriggles, right? You build in this mechanism so they could get all the wriggles out. Okay, now this is what will happen when you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to count to 3, I'm going to count to 5, and the last one on the mat, last one back to the line is going to, I thought that was brilliant, mate.
Oh, thanks.
Honestly, you're setting them up for success. And you're acknowledging, you're bringing acknowledgement, and even Cole said that too, because he's a little wriggly. He said coming back to that line is like a reset, and I was like, dude, that was the best thing for you, especially because he really wriggles, you know. But it's a hard check. You can see when you're losing their attention, and you're right 5, 4, and they're like, oh, he's watching us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're looking at him.
Yeah, I try to turn as many things into a game as I can when working with kids.
Perfect.
Because I want to work with like what kids' strengths are, not against them. And I think that unfortunately that's how I'm not a teacher, you know, I'm a coach. I teach kids martial arts, but like our school system, a lot of it is not set up for kids, especially kids with like the wriggles, as you call it, to have success. Because it's like, hey, sit in this chair and be here for 8 hours a day and, you know, pay attention. And if you don't, you have ADHD. And I just don't agree with that necessarily. Kids have a lot of energy and they want to be physical, and so like even our break times in class, it's like I'm trying to find little ways for the kids to get like energy out of the system. You know, like I'll grab their hands and I'll spin them around, or they'll do a flip on me or something, because it's not nothing. It's not just useless time wasted. It's
amazing.
Yeah, it's interacting with them physically in a way that's like fun and it feels safe, and but still like kind of exciting, right on the edge of danger a little bit. And it's also just like, you know, the big thing that kids got to learn in martial arts early is just like body awareness, you know. So you start that at a really young age, maybe 4, 5, 6, and you know, you can see the difference as they get older, and just they know the limits of their body and somebody else's body, and if I do this, this hurts me, and if I do this, this hurts them. And it's really important to learn those limits, and you do that just through kind of playing around and roughhousing, and then when we need to lock it in and pay attention, then then it's go time.
Yeah, but you're building a relationship. It's like when, you know, when you're younger and an older male turns his attention on you, you know, hey, and you got all his undivided attention. And if he's a good dude, it's like, he's the best guy ever. You know, you feel so bonded with that.
Yeah.
And that's what my kids got out of it. I thought that was great. And
That's so awesome. It's good to hear.
It's fun to see, actually, because yelling and screaming only gets so far.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. But for them to come out of that and talk about it, I thought that was brilliant. You know, you're really getting them all on your side, not just one. You don't have favorites. You're very equal. I'd say anyone, if they're thinking about doing martial arts for the kids, which I think everybody should, that's a good gym to start.
Thank you. Yeah,
with what you
appreciate
guys
that.
have, because you guys got an array of everything too. The other thing you touched on just then is my kids are really, really heady. They're very, very smart. They're very intelligent, and I noticed this from a very young age with them. So I've been growing them since they were 4 and 2, and I knew I had to do something more than just letting them play on computer games and just reading books.
Yeah.
So I put them into ninja class. Now they're in ninja class turns into parkour, right? So now they're in a parkour class. They can flip, they can do things.
Yeah.
And it was just like the first time they got into jiu-jitsu, for the first 3 months, they were crying, didn't want to be there. No, as soon as they'd jump in the car and that car door would shut, no, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I promise you guys, the more you learn, the better you'll be.
Yeah.
And then they started getting some wins, and now you can tell, like, you can see with Jack, he's pretty aggressive with what he wants to do. He's into it.
And he's very good. Yeah, his jiu-jitsu is really solid.
It's fun, huh?
Yeah.
It's fun. He's so technical, man. He's had a couple of competitions, and he comes out of them and he beats himself up. I mean, it's just like me. You know, if I'm at a racetrack, I love racing cars, right? I'm so into that. And I come off the track, I beat myself up a little bit. I could have done that corner better. If I did that corner, then those 5 corners after that would have been. So I could have found 3.3 of a second or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But he's like that too. And he analyzes, I should have shifted here. If I put my body that way, I could have rolled him over this way. You know what I mean? It's fun to see him break that down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a kid that was crying for jiu-jitsu not to go back, crying for not to go into ninja class, super scared of heights. Now he's 10 foot in the air, jumping off on the pads, doing flips and things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's fun to see him grow and to be the awareness of his body. I even said to him, good luck soon, buddy. I'm going to put you in dancing. And he's like, what? And I was like, now you're going to learn elegance. And you watch. You put all that together and you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, well, and that's such an underrated, like, that's a cool move that you're doing that. I don't know. Do you know who Vasily Lomachenko is?
I've heard of that name, actually.
Okay, so he's a boxer from Ukraine.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to think what weight he competes at exactly. I don't know. Somewhere around like the 130s, 135, something like
Little
that.
guy.
Yeah, 140 maybe. Anyways, when he was a kid, so his dad is a boxing trainer. He grew up boxing his whole life, but when he was young, maybe 5 or 6, somewhere around that age, his dad made him take time off from boxing to go take traditional Ukrainian dance for like a couple of years. And he has some of the absolute best footwork in boxing today, like just incredible. He'll run circles around guys, literally will just like dance around them, and as they turn, I mean, it's kind of like watching a matador steer a bull. It's just like completely outclasses high level guys.
That's awesome.
I think he might have been the youngest or fastest world champion in boxing. He had, I want to say, like less than 10 fights when he became a world champion.
How old is he now?
I don't know. He retired recently. Yeah, very recently. But I mean, he was competing from like, up until just a couple of years ago. So, but I just thought it was interesting that you said dance, because here's a guy that's a world champion, like one of the best boxers in the sport, in recent years. And he spent so much of his early childhood learning how to dance, learning like elegance. People say the best dancers make the best fighters, and it's true.
Yeah.
So
it's the same as I know a couple of guys used to play for UCLA football.
Yeah.
And man, they weren't admit to it, but they did ballet. You know what I mean? And that made them better.
Yeah, it's stance and it's balance. And I think one of the things that like doesn't get focused on enough in kind of like maybe just mainstream martial arts training, boxing, jiu-jitsu. Boxing, I think, is better about it because it's an older sport, but a lot of like the Muay Thai and kickboxing and stuff that gets taught, they just don't talk about stance enough, about like your base enough, where you see guys that are very strong in certain positions, but if they start to get pushed around, they start to get pushed backwards, the stance breaks down, their head comes up, their chin goes up, their hands go down, they're not moving in a way that's like defensively sound, and that's when people get caught. So that's something that I try to focus on a lot, is just like the structure and the stability of your base and your stance, so that whether you're going forward, backwards, left, right, whatever, you're safe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
First and foremost.
You're putting your weight in your legs, and the way how you'd move. Every movement was sure-footed. And
deliberate.
Very deliberate. Very
Yeah.
deliberate. Yeah, no, and you drilled the kids with that, actually. I thought that was awesome, too.
Thanks.
I've done some ballet. I've done a lot of things, actually. I've done a bit of boxing. I did boxing up until I realized it hurts when you get hit.
Yeah.
That's valid, man. That's really valid, because some guys get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And my kids the other day, they did some striking with you, and they left, and we're in the car, and I've been teaching them how to strike for a few years now, like nothing crazy on it. I do it enough just so they can understand it.
Yeah.
And if they want me to teach them more, I'll teach them, but they didn't, so I didn't. You know what I mean? I let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then, no joke, man, I found this so funny. You're teaching them a jab and a cross, and they jump in the car. He was teaching us the same stuff that you taught us way back then. It's like, yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, the fundamentals are the fundamentals.
They really are.
And they don't change, and they win world championships,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had to say to him, you guys don't need to worry about speed right now. Just get direct. Once you get your direction, then speed will come. That's
what they say in the Marine Corps all the time. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right?
Yeah.
One evolves into the next.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That's why I try to teach my kids that, especially with piano. They're really good at piano. They had a good lesson with their teacher. Shout out to Janelle yesterday. That was really cool, just before jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's the way how they do things, and whenever I walk into the house and I hear like they're jamming out, trying to just get it done and get it over and done with, I'm like, okay, reset the timer,
Yeah.
and start again and do it slow.
Yeah.
Get the metronome out,
Yep.
and now show me.
Yeah.
You know, and they oh.
Yeah, I took piano lessons at an early age too. I grew up playing music for the longest
nice.
time. So yeah, that was, yeah. I don't know how much that factors into like the way I approach martial arts. I'm sure it does at a certain level. Because like you said, structure, deliberate. You can't rush your way through a piece of music that's written at that speed, you know, so.
Yeah, I love that. This is fun. This is a fun interview for me. Let's go back to, okay, so you had, I mean, there's 9 kids in the household. You're approaching, and you joined the military at 16, right?
17, 18. I think I was
out of high school.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, just out of high school.
Okay,
So I was 18.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. You joined because you're seeing the writing on the walls. Tell me a little bit about that, because I'm just curious on that. That factor there is pretty interesting.
Yeah. I guess just going back to, like I said, like my parents, things just started to fall apart for them, like in their marriage and stuff like that. And I mean, not that things, there was always tension in the house, like even from a very young age. I remember things that were like pretty bad, but it just seemed like it got worse and worse over time. And yeah, by the time I was a teenager, it was just like, you know, things were pretty abusive with my dad. And then, you know, the violence kind of just like trickles downhill. So like my brothers and I were getting into fights and stuff like that. And yeah, it just was not a good situation. And I knew that. But I think the thing when you're a kid is like all that you know is all that you know. Mm-hmm. Like all you've experienced, that's your reality. And I was pretty sheltered. Like my parents didn't really let me do a whole lot outside of just like being with my family. So I had this pretty narrow view of like what the world was like, what relationships were like with your family and friends and things like that. So I just knew that I was not in a good place and that this wasn't going to be good for me and that I wanted something different for myself and I was going to have to find it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. And I'm not trying to touch on your mum and dad or anything like that. Clearly we know that's the breakdown. Isn't that weird how that's when you realize, oh, whoa, wait a minute, from this point forth, this is me now.
Yeah.
And what do you do? You know, it's. I remember those thoughts coming in my head.
Yeah.
When I knew I had to move, I had to get away, and I knew like I have a lot of friends. We used to party a lot, you know what I mean, and have really too much fun. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't good, and the Jiminy Cricket in my head's like, hey man, you need to stop this. You know what I mean? And that's the thing for me, which started activating. Me just starting to be curious about life and where to go, and I still bumbled and stumbled my way through a lot of things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had, my philosophy with working for someone, I'll work for you until I realize you don't have respect for me. Once I realize you don't have respect for me, peace, we're good. And it's like, it's not great. It definitely didn't breed toughing it up and going through it, which some jobs I did, because the money was fantastic.
Sure.
Well, I thought it was fantastic, but it just takes you away from what you're really trying to do. Mm-hmm. So it's things like that, and you hit that level at a young age. You know, I mean, when was that starting to trigger for you? Because you didn't make that decision at 18. I mean, I'm probably thinking you're like more 14, 15, like this is not right.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, I don't know. It seems like so long ago now. I'm 31 this year, so. Yeah, I don't really think a whole lot about like that time of my life. I mean, I know that there were decisions that I made as a teenager that definitely put my life on a different trajectory. Like, you know, you were saying, I did some therapy and things like that. And I just remember at a certain point, like, I do remember pretty distinctly this one like therapy session. It was like me and my parents, and we were trying to just like get on the same page about some stuff, and it was just like for my dad, a lot emotionally never really like clicked for him, and it was just I just realized in a moment like he just doesn't understand. Like, it's not that maybe he doesn't want to, he just can't. Like, he just, for whatever reason, there's like this block where it's just, he just doesn't know how to be
Open and available.
a good dad,
Yeah.
you know?
Open and available, and that's what a good dad is, right?
Yeah. So I just told him right there, I was like, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you for not knowing how to do this. Like, I can't hold you accountable for something that like you just don't know how to do.
That's amazing.
And that was like the big shift for me, that moment of just like, because then it wasn't about him anymore. It wasn't about like his choices. It was about, well, what are you going to do? You know, it was me and my choices. And that is like the big distinguishing factor that I see for a lot of people when like, because, you know, you meet enough people and you talk to enough people, like everybody's gone through something hard.
Oh, man.
It's different for different people, but everybody's been through something, you know? And the ones that have a success story on the other side of it and the ones that who don't, it really just comes down to like, did you make excuses or did you make a change? You know?
I love that.
And, you know, I've seen that unfortunately play out like with different members of my family where it's like, and I talk about this with my sister now, you know, she lives with us. My mom unfortunately lost custody of her a couple years ago, and so we're her legal guardians now, but.
I commend you for that, man. That's not easy.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's been good. It's taught me a lot, you know. It's basically
Kids
having
too.
to be a parent to a teenager who's also my sister. It's a unique situation, but you know, I'm learning a lot from it. But I tell her all the time, it's like, Abby, you know, everybody's been through hard stuff, and at a certain point, nobody cares like what your background is. You know, you either get to overcome the things that you've been through, or you're a victim of it.
Yeah.
You know,
What you gonna do with it?
what are you going to do with it? Yeah, and you never admire someone who's a victim of their circumstances. You might have some sympathy for where they're at and why they're there, but you admire the people that take a bad hand that they've been dealt and they do something good with it, you know?
Yeah, I met Abby. She's amazing. She speaks very, very well.
Thanks.
Very, very intelligent. And she's 14 years old,
Yeah.
which is super scary. But at the same token, though, she's got a bright future.
I think so, yeah.
She watches you do hard things. She speaks very highly of you.
Oh,
I didn't
thanks.
even know it was your sister, actually. We were just all chit-chatting and that. And I mentioned to one of the gym owners that you're an asset. And it piqued her ears up. And I was like, what was that? Only to realize that, you know, she's your sister. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so cool. But yeah, she says that watching you be a dad, you know, that's really a highlight to her in that household. So that's awesome, right?
That's cool to hear. Yeah, to hear you say that. I don't think that she would necessarily say. You know, it's kind of hard. It's hard to have your brother also be like responsible for you. I'm not her dad, but you know, like I'm playing that role in her life, and so sometimes it's hard to have like those kind of emotional, you know, heart to heart kind of conversations.
Yeah.
But it means a lot to hear her say something like speaking.
Yeah, no, she's definitely watching.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just like the rest of us, we're all watching someone that's influencing us, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. And
Trying
I
to be a
think-
good one.
Yeah, I think you guys should have those moments. Yeah, because she's coming up to a time of her life where she's really going to need you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to knowing her worth. I mean, anyone at the age of 13, 14, 15, they should know their worth, you know, and if they don't, they're going to try and find their worth through someone else, and that's just a messy story.
Yeah, and knowing like the strength of your voice. It's like you were talking about with your boys, where you make them go up and talk to people, and just so that they start to develop that self-assuredness and that confidence. You know, she's a little bit older, but you know, coming from a rough background, she didn't necessarily have people encouraging her to go do that. So now I get to be the one that's like, no, like you can talk to him, like you got this, and just, you know, I'm here if you need me, but also like you can speak for yourself. Like you should learn to speak for yourself.
The other thing I do with my kids, and I don't know if you, I mean, I'm sure you probably think the same, similar way. I tell my boys all the time, man, don't ever lie to me, hey. I mean, you know, do your thing, but when you lie to me, you take me away from the situation, and I can't help you.
Yeah.
Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I promise you, I'll go way easier on you when you tell the truth. And I mean, I might still yell a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm going to commend you for being honest.
Yeah.
You know, and that to me tells me I can rely on you. You know, so that's the things I really push. And Cole would just lie through his teeth about so many stupid things. Did you make your bed? Yep.
Yeah.
Look at his bed; it's just a mess. Come on, man.
Yeah.
How you gonna win in the day if you can't win making your bed? You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and I just do things like that. But he's getting better. Like he's getting so much better with it.
That's awesome.
And the other day, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a. Oh no, that's right. We live in a shoebox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I make a point. We have a really good fan in the bathroom. Go in there and toot as much as you like.
But turn the fan on.
Turn that fan on, get it out of here. And for whatever reason, he reeks. And I walked into the house and whatever. He's playing the piano and he's ripped a few. And I'm like, who did that? And he's like,
Not it.
it was me, Dad. It was me,
there you
Dad.
go,
And
there
I
you go.
was like, you know the drill. But thanks for being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
That's funny. Yeah, he owned it at least.
He owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's never done that. Quiet and all that. But he's doing good, man. He's going to be great.
That's cool. Well, you're a very involved dad, and that's cool to see. You know.
Yeah, I am. I really am. And if it's very rare when I'm not around them, you know,
Yeah.
and taking them here, there. And I mean, you see that. I mean,
I've seen you at the gym. Yeah, like I'll be there early cleaning and stuff like that, and I'll see you with the boys, and they're helping you load up packages and stuff, and
yeah.
just spending the day with you. And I think that is so
we're bonded.
invaluable.
We're
Yeah.
so bonded. I really look forward to the future. Jack says he's never leaving home. I say, you'll want to leave home, dude. But I promise you, if we have enough money, your house will be like right over there. You know what I mean? I want you close too. And that to me just fills my cup, man. I
That's
love
awesome.
that. I've never had that thought about it. No, I remember as a kid, I wanted to be like that with my family, but it never worked out that way. Still talk to my sister. She's amazing. I haven't heard from my mum for a while. You know what I mean? And that's okay. We all got demons. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that. My stepfather, he come out and hung out with us for a little bit, and for the first time ever, I actually got to see a gentle side to that guy, which was really cool.
It's awesome.
And my kids just love Poppy. You know what I mean? Like, they think he's the salt of the earth, and I tell them the stories, and they're like, really? He did that? Like,
Different
yeah,
guy
dude.
now, huh? Yeah, different guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. Like, it's so fun to see, and the kids, we all had a great time. My uncle and my aunt come out, it was great. Going into the military, you're 18 years old, you're got a boot camp, that's got to be like the worst thing ever. But probably a lot of fun too for yourself, because you're very active too, huh?
Honestly, it was the best thing. It was the best thing for me. I actually really enjoyed boot camp, and I'll tell you why. So growing up the way that I did, there was a lot of inconsistencies in, like, you know, mom would say one thing, mom would say one thing, dad would say something else, or it kind of, like, what you got from your parents was just kind of dependent on, like, how their day was, you know? And so sometimes it was calm, and sometimes they were screaming at you, and, you know, like, not good, right? So I think that's the thing that, like, kids need is, like, the consistency. If you just know what's expected of you and the standard never changes, there's so much, like, safety and security and comfort in that. So yeah, when I went to boot camp, it was like, oh, the screaming, yeah, this is pretty run of the mill. I'm used to the screaming, but at least the standard's the same all the time. So I know exactly what's expected of me, and you're telling me if I just do what you want me to do, then things go well, and now I'm a squad leader, I'm like one of the best in the platoon, and I get to, you know, graduate with honors, I get a meritorious promotion out of boot camp. Like, that's awesome. Wow. So I did well, like, early on, because it was just like, oh, this is so simple. If I do well, then things go well for me. Like, if I just do a good job and put my best foot forward, then I have success. I love that. So it was a good introduction to, like, adult life, that, like, if you just work hard, things go well for you.
Well, it's not even that, actually. I would challenge that a little bit.
Sure.
You got to throw some smarts into it, and you got to have a good structure. You got to have a strong ladder to take you there.
Yeah, a good vehicle of success.
Yeah.
And the military was that for me. And not to say that you're not going to encounter, like, hiccups or obstacles or failures along the road, because I have, but it's just the trend of, like, I can either not work hard or I can work hard. And if I work hard, things tend to go well for me. Even if bad stuff happens, if I just keep on moving forward, you know, generally things turn out all right. And so far they have, you know.
Yeah. No,
So.
you've landed very well, man. Like,
Thanks.
it's a really good thing to see. So you come out of boot camp shining.
Yeah.
You know, and
loving life. Yeah.
Thank you for your service too, by the way. I think that's amazing
Thank you.
for people to give up so much of their time and go chase a military life. It's not easy, man. You know what I mean? And there's so many broken marriages because of it, and that you know, shout out to all those guys. My heart goes out to you. That's not easy. You didn't meet your girl though until after the military home.
Yeah, until after the military, and it was because of martial arts, really.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't start training, like I said, in martial arts until like right at the tail end of my time in the military, and then by the time I had that first fight, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I love this. So I got into a good gym and I started training, and I was like early on in jiu-jitsu, but I was competing in MMA. So I started like just putting together fights. You know, I started like winning fight after fight after fight, and I was still competing as an amateur at the time, but my wife was doing jiu-jitsu. She was training at like a really big, well-respected, like world-class gym in San Diego. She was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu at the time, but like winning big competitions and stuff like that. So we met through friends and then just kind of bonded over like, over martial arts and jiu-jitsu. And then we started training together for a little bit of time there, and that was a lot of fun.
She probably sharpened you up a lot then.
Yeah, she was very good. I was still like early on in jiu-jitsu, and I just remember being like, I can't like, we in jiu-jitsu you call it rolling, where you're like sparring basically, right? Like just grappling, and so we're rolling, and she like gets onto my back and she starts to like sink in a choke, and I was like, if she finishes this choke, like that's a bad precedent, like for the rest of our relationship. I got to get out of this choke.
Oh, man.
So I mean, it was all in good fun and everything, you know. And she's taken some time away from the sport, just with, like when we started having kids and stuff, because our kids are real close together in age. So it's like for the last like 3 years, she's just been,
She's babying right now.
Yeah. So, but I know that when we're done having kids, so probably sometime next year, she's gonna want to get back into it. So. I'm sure she will. But yeah, that was how we first met, how we first got connected, and then.
It sounds like a match made in heaven, man, to be honest with you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I really like that.
Yeah.
In the military, you said you hadn't seen any combat or anything, right?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
But you have traveled with it, yeah?
I have traveled like in the military. Yeah, I spent 3 years out of my 5-year enlistment in Japan, it was so cool.
Good food.
Oh yeah.
Good food, yeah.
Yeah, I love Japan.
Yeah. All and the technology that comes out of that place is phenomenal.
Yeah, where I was at was pretty rural. It's like a small, almost like a farming community, like farming, small town, a lot of rice fields and lotus fields and stuff like that. So like more rural, but close to some of the major cities. Like we were about an hour from Hiroshima, so I would go to Hiroshima on weekends and stuff. And there's obviously, Hiroshima is where they dropped the atomic bomb to end the war, and there's still a museum, a memorial set up. So I had a chance to go through there and just kind of see it from a different perspective.
When you were there, did you see any three-eyed fish or any two-headed deer or anything like that?
For the radiation?
Yeah.
No, nothing like that.
So I know a lot of people with their skin over there got like bleached and white and blotchy and all that sort of stuff, right? Was that more at the time of when it happened?
I think that's probably more at the time that it happened. I remember going through like the Peace Park, like a memorial museum, and you see those stories and you hear about like people living with
all the burns.
Just with the aftermath of like nuclear fallout, and it's rough, right? It's very sobering to go through and experience that from their perspective. It's pretty brutal. It's amazing though that like Japan and the United States have such a strong relationship now, based on like where it was, not even 100 years ago. But I was very fortunate. Some of the things I got to experience in the military, like I had won an award or something, like say I got to go do a trip to Iwo Jima, which was like one of the last islands in the island hopping campaign, on the way to mainland Japan.
Yeah.
And so like I got to climb Mount Suribachi and walk on the black sand beaches where like they first,
that's way cool,
invaded the island. But there's a memorial that's like set right there on the beach, and it's the side that faces the U.S. is in English, and then the side that faces Japan is in Japanese. But they basically say the same thing, and it's the summary of it is basically just like let us never forget like what happened here, like the sacrifices that were made, so that we never repeat it. So it's like. both countries have like really forged
Bonded,
this
yeah.
amazing alliance. Yeah.
You can't. I grew up with a lot of Chinese, Japanese. In Australia, that's just how that's how it is.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, Japanese people, they're warriors, dude. They are
Yeah.
warriors, and they are hardy.
Yeah.
And the food is phenomenal. I love the food.
And they have a warrior culture that goes back so much farther than ours. That's a funny thing about America. We're so young.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're very young.
Strongest army in the world, though.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
those samurais, they've been fighting each other
Yeah.
for,
Even the way they make their swords and stuff, how they fold the metal over and over and over
Yeah.
and over. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, there's a lot of heritage there.
yeah, a lot of like old, rich history.
Yeah.
Ours goes back a few hundred years. Those goes, hundreds and
Hundreds, yeah.
of years. So that's cool to see. It was a good experience for like a young kid to get out of a pretty narrow experience.
What are you, like 20 or something?
At the time, yeah. I mean, I was like 19, 20,
Yeah.
and I just got to see the world a little bit. And from there, like visit some other countries. So like go to the Philippines, go to Taiwan.
It's fun, huh?
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
loved
like
it.
Taiwan and
Yeah.
the Philippines, like little Mexico.
I feel like I got so much more out of my time in the military than even what I put into it. Like it wasn't fair
You were
almost
very lucky.
how much I got out of it. Yeah.
That's great. I think you were prime ready for the pickings. You know what I mean? Like the other thing too is you got tremendous genes. You know what I mean? Your outlook to life. You've experienced maybe not the greatest experience growing up, but you knew out of that hard time, you really enjoyed the good times. You know what I mean? And you didn't take anything for granted, which a lot of people do, I'm sure, these days. It's fun to see that, actually. And it's structured you into this person. Like, you're a phenomenal guy.
Thanks, man.
I've
Appreciate
never
it,
seen
yeah.
you change. You're the same as the first day I met you. Every conversation that you and I have had has been very straight, very honest. And I commend that, because most people won't be that way with you, And I think it's a dying art, Like, a lot of people... I know, just from what I've experienced, a lot of people look at me like as if I'm trying to get something out of them. It's like, no, I'm just a nice guy.
Yeah.
And it's not so much of a nice guy, I agree with you. I'll tell you when you're wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'll tell you my beliefs. You know what I mean? So sometimes I can be not so great, but I'm honest. And I'm never going to be lying to anyone. And, you know what I mean? Like, if I can help you, I will give you my information. If you want it, take it. If not, I understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's just lost. Everyone just has so many filters of the world, and it's just fun to see you go through the military and come out the other side. 'Cause I know people have gone through the military and it was a hard road for them.
Yeah.
And that's valid too.
I know a lot of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's hard to get that out of them. Now it's a part of their life, and they take that into their story, and they don't look at the bigger picture, so to speak. But you're like taking advantage of it.
Well, I
which
mean,
is great.
it's funny seeing the different experience of people in the military, because I know guys that like hated their time while they were in, and maybe they still have that attitude coming out of the military. But for most of them, what I've seen is, a couple years removed from their time in service, they're like, man, I didn't realize how good I had it. Like, oh, those were the days with your boys, and we're in Iwakuni, like
Bonded.
yeah, and so it's like, hindsight is 20/20, and they see it now, but they didn't get a chance to appreciate it while they were in. So I'm just grateful that I was able to see like the blessings that were in front of me while I had them, so that I actually got to like savor them and enjoy them. And now I have so many great memories from my time in the military. So
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was
It's
awesome.
like you live your life in the moment all the time.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I try to approach being a husband and a dad that way too. Like, like I said, I'm fortunate. I'm in a place now where I can coach full time, and I'm not working a second job or something like that. But a lot of that it doesn't happen by accident. It's by design. And it's like when my wife and I started having kids, my son was born. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know what I was doing before this. Like, nothing else could possibly be as important as being here for this little guy, and this little girl.
Oh, man.
And yeah, so like even right now where I'm at, I'm just trying to be as present as possible, enjoy it as much as I can, invest in my kids as much as I can, and like being there at home with my wife, and yeah, and then just on this journey of martial arts. Like, it's added, like the military, it's added so much value to my life. I get so much out of it.
Yeah.
Teaching and training and fighting and all that kind of stuff. It's taught me a lot about life and about myself. And so, yeah, just this is the journey that I'm on, and I'm enjoying it. And like you said, just trying to be present in the moment.
Your finger is on the pulse.
Thanks.
That's good.
Yeah.
I commend you. It's good. So you go through the military. You lived in Japan. Is there any other cool stuff you did in Japan?
I mean, I did get to
great
take a
hikes.
few jiu-jitsu classes and stuff while I was out there. I mean, nothing out in town, like nothing. When we say in town, it just means off base, like off the base. But they did bring in some instructors, some Japanese like jiu-jitsu and judo instructors that didn't speak any English. So they came in and they taught us, some jiu-jitsu, but it was all just through like, if my arm was in the wrong place, then they grab it and they just move it in the right place, and that was it. So it was an interesting way to learn jiu-jitsu. Kind of cool, actually. Like it was a useful way to do it. But that was fun, just to get to learn some jiu-jitsu and some judo, like in the birthplace of jiu-jitsu and judo. It was pretty awesome.
Those guys are no nonsensical, huh? Just like staccato, it's this way, no way.
Yeah. I mean, I know like jiu-jitsu in the United States now is evolved to like a certain point where it's like, I want to say it's like very decentralized. Like when it first started here in the States, with the Gracies and stuff, maybe the early 90s, there was a lot of that holdover of like very structured, very honor, very, you bow to the instructor, you bow to the instructor's picture on the mat and stuff like that. Like, not that there's anything wrong with those kind of things, but it's just a lot of that comes from a different culture, a different time. And now jiu-jitsu is like, it's just a little bit different. There's some wackos and some weirdos. All the 10th Planet guys. We've got some 10th Planet guys that train in our gym. So if you know who I'm talking about. But, people wear their funny rash guards. And it's just, it's a lot more relaxed. Like the way that my gym feels now is way more relaxed and just kind of, oh, how's it going?
Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of bonding.
Yeah, it's very chill. And I fight for that really hard too. Like like I said, it's not something that happens by accident. Like I fight for that culture pretty hard because it's easy to have a lot of ego in martial arts, especially in MMA. It's a rough sport, but it doesn't need to be that way. And certainly for the average person that walks into a gym, most people aren't going to go and do an MMA fight. They're not going to get locked in a cage with another man in their, in their shorts and no shirt and just try to beat the crap out of each other. Most people are just training for like fitness or to gain some self-confidence, some self-assuredness. And I just want it to feel like a safe place where anybody can walk in and train and they feel safe. They feel like they're learning. Whoever you're partnered up with, you guys both get something out of it and you're getting better, whether it's a fighter who's getting ready for a fight or, we have like quite a few college students from here, from SUU that come in and train. And I love that there's like very little ego and nobody's trying to hurt anybody.
I love that, man. And now I've not, like I really haven't met anyone in your gym that hasn't been super awesome. Everyone there has been super nice. Like once my arm's up and ready, I'm coming.
What did you have, surgery or something?
Yeah, I tore my bicep tendon 90%.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's
it
rough.
was not fun. So I'm supposed. I still have time. I'm not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds.
How far out from surgery are you?
I think I'm like 5 months.
5 months post-surgery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The weirdest thing is though is when they cut it, it's like all my nerves here. Like when I just touch my arm a little bit, it's like my arm's on fire.
Really?
Yeah. I'm always trying to get the nerve endings to get like they got to reconnect or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's like I can almost draw a line around it where it doesn't hurt.
Versus where it does.
Where it does. Like if I like Jack the other day, he just grabbed my arm like that and it nearly dropped me.
Really?
Yeah. It's just like pins and needles and flames. So weird. Such a weird experience. But apart from that, I feel strong. Like my muscles coming in real nice.
Good,
Everything's feeling good.
Yeah, you said you've dropped a lot of weight recently, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had a car accident a couple of years ago, and I'm trying to combat. I have like a neck injury, so I'm trying to heal my body and everything. But the body, when your body's in the state of ketosis and all that, it mends a lot faster and a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to do everything I can to get my body right.
Yeah.
I just want to be here for my kids, and I want to be able to roll with them. Like I really want to be able to roll jiu-jitsu and have fun. And
yeah, that's awesome.
They're looking at me like, hey man, you've been putting us through this for the last 3 years. when you're getting out there.
You better be careful. Yeah, they're going to get pretty good pretty fast.
Oh, I don't mind. I hope they do. I hope they could beat me 6 ways of Sunday. You know, I'm down.
Yeah.
They're such good boys. But you know, we have fun. Our life is great, mate. But I'm looking forward to coming down to the gym. I think that's a good thing.
Awesome.
The place is a great place.
Thanks.
You guys are just doing some updates to that too, right? You've got let's talk about that. Is it all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we we've been growing a lot recently, and it's like a 2,000 square foot facility, but I think right now we've got about 800 square feet that's matted that we can like train jiu-jitsu on. And we got to the point where we had 20, 25 people on the mats, and we were just starting to like run out of space. I was like, hey, we need to make sure that like we have space for people to grow into. So, the gym is, I see it as like a community resource, like we were talking about with, self-confidence and self-assuredness. And I love seeing like college students come in that maybe this is the first time they've lived on their own. And that can be kind of scary, There's exchange students and like young girls that come in to train. It's like they need this,
They really do.
They do. And I see the difference that it makes. I've seen the difference even like for my sister, and other people have said the same thing, like, oh, the way you carry yourself is different. Like your level of confidence, like just a quiet confidence that you have, like it's invaluable. So I just want to make sure that whoever wants to walk through those doors and have a place to train, there's space for them, they have a place. But, we're doing all right, but we needed a little bit of help, so we decided to launch a fundraiser program. Like, hey, let's get a fundraiser going to replace these mats and double the size of the mat space that we have. So we launched a fundraiser about a week and a half ago, and we've been able to raise about $6,000 so far to replace our mats. So I just we're making that happen.
That's really cool.
It's exciting, yeah.
What so you to launch it so quickly and to have so much money so quickly, that's phenomenal. I mean, it's a tax writer for people.
For sure, yeah.
But it also gets their name attached to your gym.
Yeah, so like the main vehicle that we've been using for it is we started selling these fundraiser t-shirts. So we've been taking pre-orders, but it's basically like a t-shirt that's got a special like logo for our mat fundraiser campaign. It's lay the foundation, build the empire, because our gym is called Empire MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. So lay the foundation, build the empire. So we have these special fundraiser t-shirts that have that logo on it, and then we've been selling sponsor spots to local businesses that want to partner with us, and just kind of telling them what we're doing, what it's for, and then how they can get involved if they want to get involved. So we put their logo on our t-shirts, put their logo on a big thank you banner at the gym, up on our website so people can find out about their business. And so it's it's a little bit of like an exchange of value for value. They get something out of it, but really they're just like choosing to partner with and believe in a local gym that hopefully they see as like doing some good in the community, and and then we both can grow from it. So
there's a couple of things I love about your gym. When I first walked in there, your desk was moved on one side right near the door, and you walked in and you had a whole bunch of gym equipment which kind of looked like it had lots of dust on it.
Hadn't been used in a while.
Been used in a while, and it felt cluttered. And then I noticed that in one corner you guys got a mini cage in there.
We do, yeah.
And then you got a rack with all your bags and things, and you guys are maneuvering things. Mm-hmm. And the logo, which I thought was really cool. The other day I picked this hat up.
Oh yeah, this has got the Spartan helmet on it.
And it's got the Spartan helmet on it.
Yeah.
But you guys have the same thing on your logo, and I thought, dude, that's so cool. I think it's got it's just got a good feel. You walk in there, the energy is alight. You know what I mean? It's mm-hmm. definitely. I know some of the people that do train in your gym, and some of them I've seen at school here, and they're nobodies. You know what I mean? Like, not saying they're nobodies, but they're not fighters. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? By all means, you can genuinely see that they're just there, A, to get fit, and B, maybe to learn how to protect themselves.
For sure.
And I have seen some girls in there that are not fighters,
mm-hmm.
But it's fun to see when women take that on, or even young women especially.
Definitely.
Because they do walk around with that edge on their shoulder of, you know what? If something did happen, I probably could handle a little bit of myself here or understand it better.
Definitely.
And they definitely carry that through into their life.
For sure.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, and it's that's one of the cool things that I feel like I've gotten out of martial arts as well. Like I've never, outside of sanctioned competition, I've never been in a fight. I've never been in a street fight or anything
Oh
like
man,
that.
I've been in too many.
And I know I'm a bigger guy, right? Like I'm 6'2", 6'3", whatever, but a lot of it just comes down to like the way that you carry yourself. Like people that are looking to go out and start trouble, they're not looking for somebody that looks like a hard target. That's what they say in the military all the time. Be a hard target. Don't be a soft target, right? Like if someone wants to start something, you just have to look like way too much trouble to want to deal with. And I think that that's something that, like you were saying, young women especially get out of training is it's not even that they end up having to use their jiu-jitsu or need their jiu-jitsu. It's the fact that like because they have that training, they have this level of self-confidence and self-assuredness that they wear on their sleeve. And people see it and they just don't want to mess with it.
It's perfect.
Right? It's the best like preventative medicine ever in terms of like self-defense.
Yeah.
So
even my kids, watching them go from when I first moved in this town, actually, I started a job operating excavators and things. I don't know what I was thinking. It was so stupid. But I wasn't in the frame of mind to do it. But I put them into daycare, and they were young and little. And I remember coming home, picking them up late because I'd drop them off there really early. They spent the whole day there. Only to find that my kid's got a black eye, and this is going on here, and that's going on there. And then it's like in the end, I called. I didn't even know. I just called the state, and I'm like, hey, I need help. I can't work, and I can't raise these two kids all by my own. And the woman's like, wait a minute, how old are your kids?
yeah.
And I said, one's 5 and one's 3. And she's like, you don't have to work until they're over 6 years old.
Whoa.
I was
Okay.
like, oh, okay, I'm not working then. So then they helped me with food stamps, and they, like tiny a little bit about help, and it was just enough to cover enough food to be dangerous. You know what I mean? By the end of the month, I would run out of food within a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was, and I only made, I've been living off of $1,300 for the last 5 years until I started working again, and going through all that and seeing my kids, like I felt so bad because that little bit of time at such a young age taught them to do this, and they were cowering and they didn't want to fight anything, or not that I want anyone to fight. I think street fights are the dumbest things you could ever get into because it's knuckles and stupidness, and people are out for king hits.
So many ways for that to go bad.
It's so bad. I mean, in Australia, they have an epidemic of people just walking up. Like someone will be picking a fight with you here, but you don't see the guy coming behind you and just king hit in the back of your head.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's ridiculous. That's death. That's like death. You know what I mean? I don't agree with it at all. I think, man, if someone's angry at you, just say, I'm sorry and I hope you have a better day. You know what I mean? Like I say that to many people, and I'll be genuine too. Like I didn't mean to cut you off, man. Honestly, I'm not here to piss you off. You know.
People that have trained and know how to fight know how dangerous and how just volatile fights can be.
Yeah.
Like how many different ways it can go badly, and so you just don't do it because you realize that there's almost nothing that is worth that level of like risk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and now my kids, like, they're not lethal, but they could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they know it. Like they've been picked on at school, and Jack's been bullied, and I'm like, dude, if you need to, take them to the ground.
Yeah.
Don't hurt them. Just hold them. Yeah. Hold them and tell someone to get a teacher. And he still won't even do that, which I'm so proud of.
It's probably better that he's reluctant to engage, in like a physical altercation. For me, I mean, unless someone is like actually physically trying to hurt me or trying to hurt my family, I see very little reason to engage in anything otherwise. Yeah. And I've never been in that situation, thankfully, to this point.
No, it's amazing. I think that's great. And that's what, like we say, fighters understand. What does Tyson say? Everyone's got a plan to
get punched in the face. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's so cool. Hey, is there where you've gotten with your story so far? Did we get everything out of there? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of talking about how I grew up and about how I got into martial arts a little bit, and just about the gym where I'm training at now.
Let's talk about how you turned pro. I think that's a great story.
Yeah. So I kind of came into martial arts at a funny time because, it was like late 2017. So it's almost been like 8 years now that I've been training. Took my first fight in October of 2017, and then I got into a good gym. So I started training at a gym called the Arena MMA in San Diego. And I want to give a shout out to my old coaches and stuff there. Coach Joe Vargas, the boxing coach over there at the Arena. I love that guy. He's such a cool dude and really influenced the way that I approach like my own striking and how I teach people striking as well, because he's such a good fundamentals coach. Like,
that's a big gym too.
Very meticulous. Yeah, a very big gym. And he's a high level coach, and he works with a lot of pro boxers and works very closely with Team Canelo as well, and has a lot of his guys over there and spar with Canelo and some of their teams. So he's training some really, really good guys in San Diego. But I just got into striking first because I was like, well, I kind of know how to wrestle, but I don't know how to strike at all. So I started working with him, but I was in an MMA gym. So it was like a boxing team within an MMA gym. I was training with the boxing team, and then the MMA coaches are like, hey, aren't you fighting? I was like, yeah. Well, why don't you come over and train with us, you idiot? So then I started training with them. So those guys, Charles Martinez and Vince Salvador, and Chris Lieben he had just recently retired from the UFC, but he was still competing in bare knuckle boxing. And there was not a whole lot of big guys in our gym, so him and I sparred together a lot early on, me and Chris. And
how cool's that?
What an experience! Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. So he was a good. Because he was a coach as well, like he would teach some jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, but he was still actively fighting and competing. So some days he was my jiu-jitsu coach, and then some days we were just going to war.
Going to war.
And it was fun. It was a good learning experience. Like I said, it taught me how to be comfortable in some really wild and chaotic exchanges, how to be, in the firefight and not be like, overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. Not buried.
Yeah. So. And it taught me to trust myself, okay, I can slip these big shots, and even though he's a big guy, powerful guy, like I can be, as long as I'm defensively sound, I can be like safe in these places. So I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from all of those guys. I trained in that gym for about 2 years, and then, my wife and I got married. We moved out here. This is before COVID, like right before COVID. We had no idea that any of that stuff was going to happen, but my wife grew up in San Diego. I had gotten stationed there. It's really expensive. And just the pace of life that we had constantly, like just, working, training, like it was exhausting. And we're like, I think we want something different. So I had found out about SUU from like a career fair at the tail end of my time in the military. And it was actually SUU that brought me out here to Southern Utah. I was like, I'm going to go to school out there. I'm going to use my GI Bill. I'm going to go to school. And so I did. And but I wanted to keep training and fighting. So I found this gym here, Empire MMA. So it was actually founded by a guy, Steve Ergel, who, he's a coach, and his son Jason's a pro fighter now. He just had his first pro fight earlier this year. But they were running it at the time, and I was just happy to have a place here in Cedar City to train. So I kept training, but then COVID happened. So COVID happened and the world shut down. So at the time, I was a high-level amateur. I had won 5 fights in a row, 5 first-round finishes or something like that, and I was doing well. I was on people's radar. Even like some people from the UFC were watching me at fights in Las Vegas, like, hey, who's that young guy? Oh, that's Josiah Simpson. And so I was on their radar, but then COVID happened and there were no fights for like 2 years, like absolutely nothing. Like it just shut down. So a lot of the guys that I know that were kind of right on the cusp at that point in time, like they just got sidelined for a couple of years because there was just no way to get fights, pro, amateur, anything. So the first things that started to pop up, and this was like early 2022, there was a tournament in Montana for this little promotion out there, and they were offering a three fight pro contract for the winner of this amateur tournament. So, you compete 3 times over the course of the year, and if you win the tournament, then you get this 3 fight pro contract. So I was like, you know what? I've trained, I kind of know what my game is, and let's just see if I'm good enough. If I win this tournament, I guess I'm good enough to go pro, and I'll do it. So I went out and I competed in the tournament, and I ended up winning that pro contract, and that was when I went pro in, it must have been like 2022 or 2023, I think. So, and I've been fighting professionally ever since.
Okay, just before you go on with that, what does it mean to go pro, and like the benefits of being under the radar versus being pro?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the same way in other countries and stuff, but in the U.S., like for MMA, there's amateur and then there's professional competition. So it's all sanctioned by like state athletic commissions, state governing bodies, but amateurs don't get paid to compete. Professionals do. There's also differences in the rule sets a little bit. Pro fights are longer rounds. You're allowed to throw certain strikes that you can't as an amateur. Like in an amateur, you can't knee or elbow the head or anything like that. You could throw knees to the body, but nothing to the head, and I don't think you could throw elbows at all. When I started fighting in California, early amateur fights, like your first 3 fights, they make you wear shin pads. So things like that where they just try to make it a little bit safer. They're more likely to stop fights sooner at the amateur level. Yeah, just so that you're not going to get too badly hurt. Like they're trying to protect people, right?
Just a fun sport.
Yeah, the rules are set up to keep amateurs a little bit safer than pros, If you're fighting professionally, they kind of just expect that, like, all right, this is what you're doing.
Step up.
Yeah, so it's a step up, a little bit more room to a higher margin of error, I guess you could say. So that would be the difference. The big thing, I guess, is getting paid for it too. But you can't just like say, oh, I'm going to fight professionally. You have to prove a level of competence at a certain point. So like if you want to get a professional license, they're going to look at your amateur record and be like, okay, this guy, 1, actually has experience, and 2, he hasn't lost like 8 fights in a row.
He's not punch drunk.
Yeah, or just incompetent, right? Because you could have a lot of amateur fights and just have lost every single one of them, and a state's they're not gonna license you.
Yeah.
So
I've had a couple of friends that went pro in boxing, and they got their license taken away from them because they got to the point where they were just taking fights for the money.
Yeah, and taking losses.
They were just getting punch drunk, and it was so bad to see. It's not fun. At that point, it's just like you're watching your friend dissolve,
Yeah, it's good that I think here it's well regulated, so.
Good.
They try to protect fighters from themselves because, we can be kind of too tough for our own good sometimes,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
Won't let go.
Yeah. And you think that you still have it, so you want to just keep going.
So you go up there, you win this fight, and you turn pro, and you get a contract with. What was that like? How did that look for you? What was the money like? How did that change your world?
Oh, there's no money in fighting. Not early on,
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a cool experience. It was 3 fights over the course of the year. So it's like I don't know, maybe it was an 8-man or a 16-man bracket or something like that. So like a single elimination thing. Like if you win your first fight, then you move on to the next round. You win that fight, you move on to the next round. So that was what I did, and made it to the finals, and then I ended up winning that that last fight by knockout. Same thing, first round. And so I took home their amateur title, and I got myself a pro contract. But yeah, early on, like even in those pro fights, like you're not making much money. You're still just doing it for the love of the game and the hope that eventually you make it to the UFC. And
Is that what you want to do?
That's still the goal, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. That's
Nice.
the goal.
Dude, they got a big contract come up with Paramount Plus, right? Next year.
They do. Yeah.
I just bought that, and then I just found out, I was like, yeah, I win.
That was a game changer.
No more pay-per-view.
Amazing. Yeah. I've heard some people are like, oh, I don't know if this is good for the fighters. I'm like, are you?
This is amazing.
This is amazing for the fighters.
Yeah. Now we can have access to the bank of fights.
Well, it's not just that. It's also the fact that, like, the UFC, from their pay-per-view and everything, their annual revenue is maybe like less than $500 million, which is insane, right? That's a lot of money. But the Paramount Plus deal, they're making $1 billion every single year. So they've more than doubled their annual revenue. There's no way that that's not good for the fighters.
No, it's what's his name?
And it's good for the fans too.
Yeah, he why can't I think of his name? The one that runs
Dana White.
Dana White.
Yeah.
Man, I love that guy. He's already said the fighters are getting very well hooked up.
Bonuses are going up.
And
yeah.
He's been known to. I'm sure people have said wicked things, but every time he makes a deal, he's always increased the fighters' pay.
Yeah.
And he says this deal now that's coming up is probably the best deal the fighters have ever had.
It's historic. Yeah. But I think MMA for a long time was stuck in just doing things the way that they've been done in the past. Like they followed the pay-per-view model that was set by boxing. And not that, like, I don't think pay-per-views are going to go away. I think Dana's even said that, like, some fights might still end up on pay-per-view if it's a big, crazy card or something like that. But yeah, it was nice that they finally were able to break away from, like, this model is outdated. It doesn't need to be this way. It's way too expensive for the fans. Now, if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, you're paying $14 a month or whatever, you can watch all the UFC fights, like every single live numbered card. Like it's amazing.
I just bought Paramount Plus, and like the whole gamut for a year for like $112 or something.
There you go. That's almost one pay-per-view right now in
Yeah.
2025. So
Yeah.
I don't know what anybody's complaining about.
That's
You
a
guys
win.
should be. Yeah, that's a win for everybody.
That's a win.
So
No, that's looking pretty good. So so get back to sorry.
no, it's
Tangent.
dude. We have nothing but time. We can just keep on chopping it up. So we're good.
So you win your fight. You turn pro. You
Yeah.
start. You had a contract for 3 fights.
That's right.
What did that look like then, as far as the training versus the money that you made? Didn't make sense, did it?
No, yeah. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Like I said early on, you're doing it for the love of the game.
Good.
So, yeah, training isn't free. You know, even if you have like my gym essentially sponsored me for a long time when I wasn't a coach, but I was training there and they didn't charge me to train. And that's why I'm so happy to be able to be in a position to coach right now for Empire, because like Steve Ergel, the guy who owns the gym, and you know, he's run it for a long time. He's been so loyal to me and done nothing but just try to help me out every step of the way. And he's always been there in my corner. And if I can just give back to that guy and like what he's doing and what he's building, like I want to be a part of that however I can.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that and grateful for him. He was one of the big reasons why I ended up doing that tournament. He's the one that kept putting it in my ear because I didn't think I was going to compete for a while. I was just going to college, but he's like, "Hey, you could do this. You could do this tournament. And I bet you could do well." And I did. And I just haven't looked back since then. But no, my pro career kind of got off to a rocky start because I had won this amateur tournament and I was all riding high and thought I was the best thing since ever, you know, and I could fight anybody. And I took my first fight was it was up a weight class, right? It was like last minute. They're like, "Hey, we got this guy from South Dakota, and the fight's at light heavyweight, so it's up at 205, and he's got 10 pro fights, but this is his retirement fight. So do you want to fight him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll fight anybody." And I go out there, and I'm like having some early success, and then I just get too aggressive, coming forward too much, and I just got caught with a shot, and I got knocked out, TKO'd in my first pro fight. So that was my like, well, here you go. You want to be a fighter? That was my first fight, and
Probably one of the best things too, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely forced me to like look at where I needed to get better, and the way that I was training too. You know, making sure that I was training the right things and getting rounds with like good training partners, and over the years, like my training approach has evolved. You know, we don't spar hard. Like you've seen kind of how we are at the gym. Like I was saying, the no ego thing. Like we don't spar hard hardly ever. Like it's all pretty light and gamified, and just because it's hard to learn when you're like just worried about keeping your head on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So yeah, things have evolved over time, but it was a good wake up call to lose that fight. And then, you know, I took a little bit of time off, made some improvements, came back, won my next fight, won the fight after that, and you know, now I'm in a better place.
So what was the money? So your first fight you lost.
Yep.
What was the money that you got out of that?
I'll just say less than $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next fight that you came back and won.
Yeah.
What was that? Whereabouts was that?
Not much more than $1,000.
Oh my goodness, that's not much at all.
No.
Compared to what you're putting into, that's
Sure,
yeah. It's just enough to say, oh, okay, we can probably buy some food.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it get bigger as you go along with your record growing, or?
It does. I mean, it's a little bit relative because it's your record. It's
How known you are.
how known you are in that area. One of the things that's been, I don't want to say difficult for me. It's been great. I've enjoyed it, but I have been mostly like a road guy to this point. There hasn't been in the past, or when I started, there wasn't like a ton of fights in Utah. So I was going to like Montana, South Dakota, Vegas, Canada, like different places to fight where nobody knew who I was. So when nobody knows who you are, you're not like selling a bunch of tickets, so you're not making that much money. I've been really fortunate this past year. I've only fought in Utah. So I fought back in February at a show down in Hurricane. So like a lot of people have probably maybe even been to those fights. It's a good friend of mine, Aaron Reese. He runs Fusion MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, the gym down in St. George, but he also runs Crown Fighting Championship, which is a smaller, you know, like regional MMA promotion. They've got a lot of amateur fights, but some pro fights too. And actually, back in the day, they've had some real serious guys fight for him, like Gilbert Burns. He's in, you know, former, I don't know if he won the welterweight title or if he was challenged for it in the UFC, but when he was trying to get into the UFC, he had a fight for crown, and then I think shortly after that made it to the UFC. So I fought for them in February, and then I've like recently found a home with Fierce Fighting Championship, which is another really big Utah-based promotion. They're like I said, based out of Salt Lake City, but they have grown into a show that's like for the Western United States. Like guys from Vegas, California, Idaho, Utah, everybody wants to come and fight for Fierce. So
Nice.
that's been really cool. I had a fight for them back in April, and it was a good one. It was a barn burner. We won fight of the night. I won performance of the night. Kind of started a little rocky for me, but I pulled it out of the fire in the second round and got a really, really good response from the crowd. And yeah, it feels really good to be fighting in Utah and have like Utah fans actually behind me and supporting me.
That's awesome. How long are your rounds?
They're 5-minute rounds.
Minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really cool. That's so we just got to get you burning more. Like,
I just got to stay busy. Yeah.
yeah, I think that. I mean, you've got a lot of really great contacts. I would almost, like I said before, I want to help you get a podcast cracking. But you could pull them in. You know what I mean? And,
For sure.
and I'm happy to produce it for you.
Oh,
I
man,
think we
that'd be
should
awesome.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to
especially
talk.
like the names you've been dropping. Like, my goodness, there's some amazing people.
Yeah, I've been really lucky in that regard. I feel like
Yeah.
the people that I've trained with, and I've been fortunate, and I've learned a lot from them. So
Yeah,
I
you
always
come
want
from
to
the
give
Mecca.
credit.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's San Diego's where it's at.
Yeah.
You get all the big ones down there. That's fantastic, and that's what you. I mean, it's not only that. It's this the insight you bring. You talk very well.
Thank you.
You know, your explanation of things is great. Your brain is there, man. You know, it's such a hard.
I try not to get hit too much.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Because that's valid. That's really valid.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing, I just watched a lot of people lose a lot of stuff. You know, and it's scary.
Yeah.
You know, because especially around my age now, some of the people that are fighting, they're not here anymore. You know,
Yeah.
which is kind of there's something to be said about brain injuries. The same as
100%.
football and stuff like that too. I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's a big part of why we train the way that we do at my gym, is because,
Yeah.
you know, and like MMA is a sport that like, it's really funny the kind of people that are attracted to it. So you either get people that want to be fighters, or you get a lot of people that are like a little bit smaller, a little bit weaker, and there's not a whole lot of in between. There kind of is, you know, but
Yeah.
it's generally one or the other. Like it's either end of like a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah.
And like obviously the smaller people are getting into it because like they feel physically like, hey, I need something so that I can learn how to defend myself, right? And I want to make sure that they actually get like good training and that they feel safe. And then on the other side you have like fighters, and like our fighters are great. Like there's a lot of really great people, but also when you're training to learn how to fight, like there can be some ego involved. So I've just tried to establish this culture where it's like we leave our ego at the door. Like our training partners are teammates. Like MMA is a team sport. You compete individually, but there's no way to train on your own. So it's like you need the guy to the left and right of you to be healthy, and we don't get any points for brain damage, right? So it's like put your ego aside, like leave it at the door, and let's just like see what we can learn from each other. And like, you know, a new guy comes in and maybe people want to test themselves, so they start throwing a little harder. They're just trying to see like, oh, what can I do? Like, where do I shake out in the lineup, kind of, sort of, you know?
Yep.
And like, I've been in gyms where, you know, the coach or whoever's running class will be like, oh, you want to fight somebody? Fight me. And they use that as a tool to like put people in line. But I've never really liked that. I don't do that. So if a guy comes in and he's training too hard or he's sparring too hard, I'll just pull him aside and be like, hey man, like that's not how we do things here. Why don't you watch a couple rounds? And I'll just have them observe and just see. And then they start to get ingratiated into the culture just through that observation and like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is different than what I expected. But it's always just like this gentle steering and correction towards like, this is how we take care of our training partners and this is how we don't get brain damage. And like, I think it makes me a better fighter. I think it makes like our team better because you can only take so many shots to the head. Like outside of just it being better quality training, it's also just a longevity thing because I'm not taking my hardest shots in the gym, you know?
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
I watched just the other week. You and I were chit chatting. I was watching you guys just drill. It's all drill. It's half the time people haven't even been in close quarters with a person.
Mm-hmm.
So like even just to have someone right in your face.
Yeah.
That's so intimidating, and it's gone. You're like, oh, what do you
Yeah.
do? But you guys are practicing going backwards and forwards, like as if you're getting striked and you're taking the strikes, and how you're. I thought that was fantastic, man.
Well, that's the cool thing about drilling. Like drilling is scalable. So drilling, the same drill can be a different thing for different people depending on their experience and their ability level. So like you were talking about, a drill where you're defending shots going backwards, if you and I are brand new, like the coach is going to have us do it really, really slow, really deliberately, so that you have time to do it the right way and be successful. Like I'll tell people when we're drilling all the time, like the goal of this drill is not for you to land your shots. The goal is for the other person to be successful with their defense. So you've got to be moving at a pace where they can actually be successful with their defense so that they're getting better. And then as you get better, you can do that drill faster. You can throw the shots harder to eventually you're working your way up to game speed, and now you're defending full force punches and everything, but you're comfortable because you've built up to that point. You didn't get thrown into the fire and then just like, oh, I hope I survive, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, it's you baby stepping your way into it.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest with you, I got choked out when I was younger by my uncle. He wrapped his hands, and he's a big dude, real big dude. I was like 17 at the time. He wrapped his hands all the way around my throat. You know what I mean? And I had a mark from here to here, all the way around. I blacked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And from that point, I have a really hard time when anyone comes in. I get so defensive of it.
Yeah.
But since my kids have been doing jiu-jitsu, they want to practice what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's talk about this, guys, because I have issues around here, but I want to get over them. And we've been easing into it, and they've been getting me in chokeholds left, right, and center, and doing certain things, and just trying to knock the rust off that so I can get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It's not easy, man. It's like a fear of mine or something now.
No, that makes total sense.
It scared me.
We had there was a guy, and I don't want to say any names or anything, but we had a guy that was training with us who's a cop, law enforcement officer, and he worked in a prison, and he had this experience where there was like a fight broke out in the yard or whatever, like in the common area, and he had to go in and like try to stop it, but he ended up getting like pinned down, and he was like held down by a much bigger guy, and it freaked him out. And so he came in and he was training jiu-jitsu, and there would be these times where like, he thought he was having an asthma attack or something like that. And I was like, no, I think this is like
anxiety.
That's anxiety that you're experiencing. And so we stopped what we were doing, and we talked about it. Like, this makes total sense. Like, 100%, I understand like why you're feeling this way.
Yeah.
Let's work through this like much slower.
Step by step.
Yeah, I don't want you to like avoid being in this bad position altogether, but like we're gonna do this at a slow pace where like you're gonna successfully work your way out of this, and then over time we'll slowly ramp up the intensity of it at a pace that like is comfortable to you, like something that you feel like you can manage. And he was able to work through it, essentially.
Dude,
was like
really cool.
like a PTSD response, but he was able to work through it just by like scaling the drill down to something that was like, it pushed him enough but not too much. And then over time his threshold for stress increased to where he was able to work his way through it. And it was really cool to see.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I loved hearing that story because he's in a position where it's death.
Yeah.
And those guys, they're there for a reason, right?
For sure.
They ain't going to stop. And for him to be lucky enough to get out of that scenario and then to be able to face his demons and come and see you.
Train his way through it, yeah.
That's a measure of a man right there to me. I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's most people won't do hard things. I've been through so many stupid situations, and I don't know if I handle them real good at the time, but I'm pushing everything now. To me, it seems like if I've got a bit of fear there, or if I'm a little skeptical on it or whatever, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my kids have seen me do that left, right, and center. I think that's.
Yeah. But
it's a fun journey going through that.
Yeah.
To know that you got it, but there's. When you got genuine fear, that says a lot,
Oh yeah, and I still experience that, like not so much in training, like one, we train very safely. We train in a way that like it feels fun. It feels like a
Yeah.
game, so that we're like getting better. But fights, man, fights are scary. I remember even my last fight back in April. I swear I was, because you're there for hours. You're there for hours, just like waiting for them to call your name. Especially like the longer you fight. Now I'm in like main event and co-main event fights and stuff like that. So you're waiting all night, just sitting back there, and you're trying to relax. You're trying to just watch other people's fights, and then it gets closer and closer. Okay, now I got to start warming up, and now I got to start getting my hands wrapped, and I got to get my gloves on, and it gets pretty ritualistic, but it's like every step is just a little bit closer to that walk, and it's. By the time I was behind the curtain, like the fight right before me is happening, and I'm standing back there, I told myself, like, that's it, I'm done. This is the last fight. I'm not doing this anymore. Just because the level of like fear and anxiety that you feel pre-competition is so intense. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, well, better go make this a good one then. Like, I just want to perform at a level like I can be proud of. My family's proud of me, my team, and I just leave it all out there. So, but I still get that. Like, I still get that before every fight. Like, there's a certain level of fear and anxiety that you have to just push through. And it's like, look, that's where a lot of like, just like reward is found. You just do hard things, do things that scare you,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been pretty
I have
cool.
mad respect for that. I like this, every time before I go live, I mean, you probably notice actually out there, I'm a little rough around the edges when I get started. I get a little tongue tied, but once I get into it, man, this fills my heart full.
Yeah.
Like I really love doing this, and I know we get good messages out there, and I'm that's what I'm working for. I don't hunt for things, but just the experiences that we've had.
Yeah.
I think they're so great to talk about. I really love the human condition. I love talking to people about going into that scenario. So hearing you go through that, it's like, yeah, I know I'm not fighting, you know what I mean? But
The fear is the same.
I'm putting my
anxiety.
soul out there, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do get a little bit of anxiety. I do get a little bit, okay, we're going to go now. We're going to go. And I line it up and I get it going and I'm like,
Well, and you're always like, oh, this could go really bad. But it's like, yeah, it could. Or I could just try, just do it.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes it's like, wow, that was actually
no, it's cool.
better than I even thought it could have been,
So
how
what,
did you, oh, sorry, I was
no,
going to
no,
ask
no,
you,
no, please.
how did you get into podcasting? Because it sounds like you've done so many different things. Like
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit about different jobs and
Yeah.
stuff that you've done, but this podcast thing is like fairly recent for you.
It is. It is fairly new. I've probably been doing this for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Coming into it, it's actually not quite 2 years, actually. It's coming up to 2 years. I knew I wanted to influence people. I knew I had a story to tell. And I was watching so much YouTube after losing my wife. I was just watching what people were doing all across all different platforms. Whether I'd make a movie, and honestly, I thought I would probably give advice on building or something, because I'm pretty good at tiling and I can make things look really good, and I can build stuff. And I thought that's what I wanted to do, and I just didn't have a direction to do it. And I started filming like little odd jobs that I do here and there.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know how to edit and put them together. But I have a background, like, I spent 10 years in acting, and I went to LA and I chased the dream and it didn't work out. I'm not good enough. And maybe I was good enough, but maybe I didn't get the right light to me, you know what I mean? I don't know what it was. But at the same token, there was a time there where I wasn't ready. And I'm kind of thankful because I probably would have turned out like one of those Hollywood guys, you know what I mean? Who knows? It would have been shambles.
I think so much of that stuff is luck of the draw. Like, obviously it's hard work, but it's also just like
it's all
having
luck.
the right opportunity,
Yeah.
like just kind of
find
you.
And this is a shout out to the people that are in LA, because I took all the classes. I was working in the daytime, and I had a job. Well, I worked for myself, so whenever I had an audition, I'd be listening to my audition going into it, so I'd pre-record it, and then I would go on over my lines and everything. So by the time, I'd set a time, 2:00, right, I'd drop my tools, I'd race over halfway across LA to do an audition for 5 minutes, and then walk back out of there like, hey, that was great, and you never get an answer, or you get called back 5 times later, or it was fun. It built me in all different ways. I worked with some really talented people. Like, there's a guy, a really good friend of mine, down there now, and he's been down there for it's got to be over 30 years.
Really?
But he's done like the Pacific. It was a war show. It
Oh,
was a
yeah.
series.
Yeah.
He did that.
I've seen that,
His
yeah.
name's Joshua Baton.
Okay.
And he worked with John Berthow and all those guys, and they're all good friends, and he's still down there doing it. I mean, he's so talented. I think he worked with. He was Eminem's coach when Eminem made 8 Mile.
No way. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
his acting coach.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
It was
Okay.
really cool. He got. I mean, M did a great job of that. That's a grind, man. You know what I mean? Because I see him. He's well established, and he's like his craft is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've only had a couple of people be on stage that could bring me to tears, and that guy is one of them.
That's
you know what I mean? And it's beautiful to see. But shout out to those people because there's so many talented people.
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing that really pisses me off about Hollywood is there's so many amazing writers there too. Like there's writers that are just so polished and have great stories, and the studios come along and they buy their stories just for enough money to shelve them. And it just it breaks my heart because
So you're saying that those projects don't get made? Or?
they don't get made.
Yeah.
They don't get made, or they're just sitting on a shelf, and they get. I mean, and they still own part of it or whatever. I don't know how it works, but it's so sad to see that happening. So I've looked at all of those coming into here, and you're right, man. I've done I've wear different many hats.
Yeah.
And then coming into this, I knew I couldn't work. Because I didn't want, at least for the next 20 years, really, I just want to be there for my kids.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then I had this little inkling inside of me. It's just like, imagine what it would be like if I could travel the world and meet cool people like yourself that are doing hard things, and I could produce something and I could put it up there and maybe help them along their way, and the things that they've gone through, maybe they could help all of us out here,
Yeah.
And that's my goal right now. It's like, I've had opportunities where people wanted to pay me to do this for them because they wanted to tell their story, and it just didn't gel with me too well. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting paid, but there'll be a time where I'm sure it's going to happen, and I'm just committed to this.
That's awesome.
And I want to be able to take it. I want to be able to take it mobile and take it anywhere. Which I'm getting to the point now where I got sponsored by a person, by a family here. Oh man, I just love them so much, and they don't have, where they don't know me from anything, but they bought me a really nice computer, and they gave me enough money to take my boys on a vacation,
That's so awesome.
Oh, it just chokes me up. I just love it.
Yeah.
So it's those little moments that you get. It's like a little bit of money from a fight you did, but you won the fight, you turned pro. It's those little moments that I've had along the way, and I've been very consistent with posting. It just tells me that I'm on a path this is right for now.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be the end all be all. Great. Whichever way it is, I'm learning a lot too. And now I'm starting to produce podcasts for people.
That's awesome.
And I'm doing a better job for them than what I am for me, which is good because now I know what I need.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better as I go along. And
It's amazing.
I really appreciate it. I've told this a couple of times, I'll tell it again. The first day I came here, and I was in Ryan Steinekart's class, and he's there, and I took the class because I wanted to learn sound editing.
Okay.
I had no idea there was a radio station in this school. I had no idea that that's what he was teaching. So first thing he says, "Hey, we have a radio. It's Thunder 91, and guess what? You're all going to be on it." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to drop this class." Straight away, I was like, I don't want to be talking on the radio. But by the end of that class, because I sit up front, I'm very attentive. I'm in there. I probably need that, but just to be on it.
Sure.
But by the end of that class, which was 45 minutes, someone said, "How long are we allowed to talk on the radio for? Or how long do we have to talk on the radio for?" And he says, no. 15 seconds, 30 seconds max. That's all you need. And then he pointed at me and goes, we'll talk. And I'm like, what? He goes, I've got a feeling you got some stuff to say. So I thought, wow, that sort of shined a light on me a little bit there. And it just started, it planted a seed. I had no idea I was growing. You know what I mean? And then three studio, we had a different studio at the time. On my third shift, Well, by the time my first shift was over, I said to him, I said, man, can I interview someone? You know, if you do you know anyone here wants to promote something, like I'll just talk with them. And he's like, oh yeah, I always get that. It's like, because if I get someone, I'll send them. I'm like, please do.
That's so cool.
And then this guy showed up at the end of my shift. I had not even 10 minutes left, and he shows up and he sits down and we do it. Which at that stage, this is my first one. I'm frazzled because he's late. You know what I mean? And I don't. Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But it worked out really great, and that was when the seed. I feel like that's when the plant broke through the dirt. You know what I mean? It was like, hey,
saw what it could become.
Oh, I love it. I just love it. And then I've invited some friends along the way to come and sit in there. And from the get go, actually, I've got so much footage that I never put live.
Okay.
And because it just but I didn't know how to edit, so I've just got in a bank of memories, you know, like back home in these hard drives. I don't know if I'll ever release them because they're pretty shambles, but it was a means to an end. Like I used to do an interview and then would play a song, and then we'd do some more interviews, then we'd play a song,
right? And
that's how it was. But then I just said to Ryan, I think I just want to go straight live, and he's like, do it.
That's awesome.
I thank him for it so much.
Yeah, big shout out to him, huh?
Ryan is amazing, and SUU to have this platform. I've been invited to talk, you know, in front of hundreds of people to tell my story, and I never knew that I could have that, but now there's something that's developing inside of me. Like, I would love to be an influencer on many platforms.
Yeah, you have a story to tell, you have a message to
to
share, and you've been through some unbelievably hard things, and so you get to be an example for people to see of like, hey, this is someone who was able to not just make it out the other side of it, but build and find like, what is this going to teach me? Like, if this happened for a reason, like, who am I going to become on the other side of it? And how do I become a better person? How do I become a better dad to my boys on the other side of this thing? And it sounds like you've done that. You're doing that. And that's so important for people to see examples like that, because not everybody has that example in their everyday life. But if there's somebody that you know, or follow, and you can see an example of that, like, that could be life-changing for somebody.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so. And that's my main goal. Hey, I missed the top of the hour, guys, but you're listening to KSUU Thunder 91 here in Cedar City, Utah. Thanks for tuning in. You can check us out on YouTube right now. We're probably going to wrap this up soon, I'm sure. But we're at Widow Trio and Freedom. If you want to go over there and like, share, and subscribe and all that jazz, I'd appreciate it. Always come up with. I have another show coming out tomorrow, 1 p.m. I'll be on here again with a local guy that's building his business, and he has a great story too. But thanks for tuning in. Going back into you're looking at your future now. You have a fight coming up.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
October 3rd.
Yeah, we're sitting here with Josiah Simpson too, just so everyone knows out there. Josiah's local here. He has a military background. He learnt the love of fighting in San Diego.
That's right.
And the hustle and bustle of that place pushed you out and brought you to this town.
Yeah, I just knew that, like, I mean, obviously the gyms in San Diego were great and everything, but just the pace of life. Like, my wife and I just knew that we wanted something slower. So I made a decision like pretty early on, like, like I said, we moved out here, and at first I didn't think I was going to continue fighting, and then that tournament popped up as an opportunity, and I realized that, like, hey, actually, I have the talent, I have the ability to learn, I have the work ethic, like, I can do this. But if I do this, I'm not going to sacrifice my family for it. So a big part of like my fighting journey is like, look, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it with my family. I'm going to do it with this team, like here in Cedar City. And I also trained down in St. George as well with those guys at Fusion MMA. Big shout out to them, Fusion MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, and Coach Aaron Reese. I still train with those guys weekly. I'll go down there at least once a week. So I'm utilizing the resources that I have, but I'm not moving to Vegas. I'm not moving back to San Diego. I'm not going somewhere else to make this happen. Like, if I do it, if I make it to the UFC, which that's my goal, that's what I want to do, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it with these people, the people that have believed in me since, those earliest days. And that's
such a great story, man.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
love that. And there's so much talent here too.
There really
It's
is.
not like there's not talent here. You know,
Yeah.
it's and the way how you guys are improving the gym, yeah, it's a good scenario.
Yeah.
When's your next fight? It's coming up next month, right?
It's October 3rd in Salt Lake City. So yeah, the last one was up in Salt Lake City back in April for Fierce Fighting Championship. This one is the same thing, same promotion, Fierce Fighting Championship. It's part of a 2-day event. I think it's called FightCon, but I'm fighting on day one. So October 3rd at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
So you can get tickets for that online. Check out fiercefightingchampionship.com. I don't think tickets are available yet, but they will be soon. But yeah, just follow Fierce. They're doing a lot of cool stuff and growing a lot. And they've had guys that have either fought in the UFC before and come and fought for Fierce, or they fought for Fierce and then they go to the UFC. So I'm hoping to be one of those guys, you know,
Yeah.
fight for Fierce and then go to the UFC.
That'd be great. We'll have to, once you get closer to it, we'll do a couple of teasers and
that'd be awesome.
We'll put it on my site and everything else. And then maybe when you go to fight, maybe I'll come up with you guys.
That'd be cool.
We'll do some video stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It'd be cool to see. I mean, I don't know how much you ever want to release into that, but maybe we'll get you prepping and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Actually, try and build your brand a little bit, get some more awareness around you.
Thanks.
That'd be super fun. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean, it's just this has been a cool conversation. I don't know what time is it right now?
Yeah, we're just 12:10.
Okay, so about 2 hours so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this has been great.
It's
It's
been
awesome
great.
to hear more of like your story, and
Yeah.
yeah, just how you got into this and you and your boys where you're at. It's cool to hear like your experience at the gym and so far and like what you've seen. You're a very keen observer, you know. And
I see all.
yeah, it's cool to hear like your perspective because I'm there every day, you know.
Yeah. You could the structure you're building there is great. I have been around a lot of gyms. I've trained at a lot of places. I never fought or anything like that.
Right.
Nothing great. And when I was a kid, I had some amateur fights. Nothing crazy. But no, it's fun to see the discipline you're putting in there as well as the fun factor. You know, it's very much structured, and I think there's like I said, there's no ego there, which is really cool to see.
Thanks.
You
Yeah.
know, and most people, it's not that way. You know.
Yeah, and there's something in it for everybody. That's the thing too. Like I said, there tends to be like a pretty broad spectrum of like there's kids that, you know, maybe they're kind of awkward, they're physically awkward, they're not like super athletic, but they get something out of like the self-assuredness and confidence they get from training. And then there's people that are trying to compete. And then there's other people that are everywhere in between that spectrum. And older people too, you know, there's young kids, I've seen people in their 60s and 70s that are training jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So I think the sport and the discipline meets people where they're at a lot more than you would realize unless you've been in there and you've done it before. And then you're like, oh wow, like I can, you know, maybe I'm not going to be doing rolling back takes and flying triangles and arm bars, but there's something in this for me that will make me better. You know.
Yeah, MGA had a thing written on their wall, and it said, "It doesn't get easier, you get better."
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool. You know, it's valid, but your gym has that edge of there's no agenda, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the guys that are in there, they look pretty scary, but you hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, how you doing? It's like they're super friendly.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very pleasant environment.
That's awesome.
Your mats, they show up in what, 6 weeks or something? Is that right?
Yeah, so we just placed the order for the new mats this past week, and it's going to take a little bit for them to get delivered. They're in production right now, so we will, about 6 weeks. That sounds about right. Mid-October is what we're looking at, so maybe shortly after my fight, we'll have almost essentially a brand new facility. I'm so excited to see just when we have more space for people and it looks more, you know, like a professional, what people kind of envision, I think, when they see an MMA gym or a jiu-jitsu gym in their minds. So we just want to be the best possible offering that we can to people in Cedar City. Because like you said, there's a lot of talented people here. There's a lot of like talented young athletes and kids and families that would just benefit from that type of training. And Cedar's growing a lot. So if we can just be like a community resource and a valuable asset, that's all I want to do. That's all I
Yeah.
want to be.
Who can I ask who can we talk about who sponsored you guys or who sponsors you?
For
Or
sure, yeah. I would love to give a huge shout out to our sponsors right now that have sponsored our MAP fundraiser program. Mike Solove Real Estate, Michelle Knight Real Estate, TMS Trees, Raquel Mays Construction, Ibex Endurance Training is a nutrition and endurance coach here in Cedar City. She runs ultra marathons and she trains people for ultra marathons. That's Brianne Bunting. Yeah, Ibex Endurance and Training. $5 Pizza, Cedar Depot Antiques and Gifts. There's another company called Military BJJ Gis, which is not a local company, but they sell jiu-jitsu gis and rash guards, and they donate a portion of their proceeds to veteran suicide awareness and prevention. So really happy to have them as a sponsor. And then, also our local Army National Guard recruiting office. Shout out to those guys for signing on as a sponsor as well. So
that's way cool.
Happy to partner with some, military and veteran causes and organizations. So really grateful for all of their support so far, all those businesses.
Yeah, I love that. And if any of those guys want to come and tell their story, I'm happy to give them some exposure too.
Awesome.
I want to see that gym go good. I think that what you guys got going over there is fantastic. Your training style is phenomenal.
Thanks.
I haven't met Steve yet, but I know we're in talks through third parties.
Yeah.
He's actually going to come on the podcast
Awesome.
in the future here. So we're
Super cool.
He's been doing this for a lot of years, and I'm down to see his journey of how he got to where he's at.
Yeah, he has, and he's got a different perspective too. Because like I'm mostly a fighter and a coach, and Steve he's fought before, but he's mostly like a coach and a matchmaker and promoter. So he also works for Fierce Fighting Championship, and he's one of their matchmakers. So he sees a different side of the business of fighting, and than I do.
Pick his brain on that one, huh?
Yeah,
That'd be
for
fun.
sure.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we develop something with him too.
Yeah.
He has two gyms too, right? He has one up in Price or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So he doesn't own that one, but he's the head coach up at Fierce MMA, which is a MMA gym in Price, Utah. Yeah. So he trains the team over there, and he's got some young fighters that are getting ready for fights, doing some amateur stuff. I don't know if they have any pros. Well, they have Jason, his son, Jason Ergel, is a pro fighter.
He just turned pro too, right?
He just turned pro, yeah, and
Yeah.
he won his first fight with a 15-second submission, I think, in the first round. Yeah.
Oh man, wow.
So he's off to a banging start.
That's going.
Yeah, he's doing good. So,
Sheesh.
and've trained with that kid since he was, 16, 17. So I got to watch him grow up from kind of an awkward teenager to now he's like 6'4", 6'5".
He's a big dude.
Yeah, middleweight. He's good. And
Yeah.
very good jiu-jitsu. So it's cool to see his growth and development too.
He's apparently going to come and sit in that seat too soon. We're
Right on.
going to talk about his journey of how he got there. How old is he now?
I think he's 22,
Oh,
23. So he's a
Yeah.
young dude, but he's been training jiu-jitsu since he was like 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
So we got started a lot earlier than I did, and it shows. Yeah, his jiu-jitsu is very solid. He's got a really good ground game and very long. And every body type I think can be an asset for jiu-jitsu as long as you play to your strengths and not to your weaknesses. And he's got long arms, long legs, so like a lot of leverage, and he uses it very well.
Leverage, yeah.
Leverage is huge.
Wow. I know my son, he's one of his biggest goals is he wants to be a black belt before he's out of school.
Wow.
He would love to hit black belt stat. I mean, that's
amazing.
a lot.
Yeah,
that's
that'd be
a
cool.
lot. So to see that happen, I'm sure you guys are going to be the ones to take him there, which I'm super happy about. Unless we move, I don't know. But it's a great thing. I think what you guys got going on is awesome. So I would say to anyone, go down and check it out. You get a free week, right?
Yeah, Empire MMA and Fitness here in Cedar City. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We have a website as well. And yeah, we do a free week trial. So if you want to just come in and check out the gym, sign up for a free week. And if it's for you, then great. I'd love to have you as part of the team. So.
That's awesome. I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What makes the difference?
I know a lot of people probably say like discipline, hard work, that kind of thing. I say for me, it's passion. Like I do this because I love it. And if you're doing something that you love, and I think the passion keeps you like curious, like stay learning, like stay learning and growing. And as long as you're like exploring the edges of like, okay, here's what I know and here's what I don't know, and I want to know more. And the fact that I like keep learning and developing keeps it something for me that's like, it's always fresh, it's always new, it's exciting. And I love to see other people growing as well. So yeah, for me, it's just love of the game, I guess.
Yeah, stay curious, huh?
Stay curious.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Not
that the other.
judgmental. Shout out to Ted Lasso. Yeah.
I
Be
love
curious,
that.
not judgmental. Yeah.
Not judgmental. I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. It create a hunger for life. I was thinking the other day, and I got a bit self conscious, and I was thinking like, when people ask me when they're going through things, I give a lot of information out that could help them. I'm not a doctor by all means, but then I was thinking, man, what if it changes? And then my little Jimmy Cricket kicks in and says, "You're always changing, dude.
You're always
You
changing.
always have new information."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what I'm preaching today might not be what I'm preaching tomorrow. Maybe it's a part of something else with something else to preach tomorrow. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want health for people. I want people to be aware of how their health can be. You know what I mean?
Can be better.
It can always be better. And I think the hunger of curiosity it's not. A lot of people don't have it. And I watched that firsthand. I got that from my wife. My late wife, Annie Lyman Birdsey, I love you so much. That woman, we would just be driving along and we'd have a conversation. And I would say something, I wonder how they do that. Then 3 minutes later, she'd be like, oh, the way they do it is that, she'd have the information, or she'd be just as curious as I was.
Always learning.
I love it. Always learning, always growing.
That's so cool. And it's just, we have so much information out there available at our fingertips all the time. Like, if you want to learn something now, you really have no excuse for not learning it, because you can just ask.
Yeah.
You can just ask. Right?
This is the best thing about GPT and people,
Yeah.
that you see these commercials, everyone's like, don't do this with ChatGPT, like using it for Google. No, absolutely use it for like Google, because Google sucks now. You know what I mean? ChatGPT gives you so many good options, and it tells you the reasons why and how and all that, and you can get real specific.
Or where to find more information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did the other day, I'm into this, trying to learn better about OBS Studios, which is what I use to broadcast this.
Okay.
And I said, right, I watched this other YouTuber. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but he's in business. He's such a good dude. He's all yoked up and stuff, but he's very focused in what he does. And he says, just do this, and I'm like, what is it? And he says, okay, ask ChatGPT the thing that you want to know about, right? And what you want to do is you want to spend an hour every single day, and you want a format for it. So you want ChatGPT to spit out, I want to learn about OBS Studios, which is for me. I'm willing to give 1 hour every single day to do it, and I want 1,000 hours of knowledge.
Wow.
And it spat me out, man.
Training program.
A training program for it.
Yeah.
And they gave me a link. So all I had to do is copy that link into a folder.
Yep.
Now I just press that link and I go to day whatever it is, and I open it up and I learn.
That's so cool.
Dude, so if you guys want to learn something about anything, you don't need SU. I'm sorry, but if you really don't need so much of going. I mean, structure is good. SU, you really do rock. But the structure, if you're getting real specific on something, ChatGPT will spit everything out for you.
Yeah.
It'll give you that knowledge, and you can put it in. You want to read it, or you want it in video form, and it just has it right there. But still use it as Google, so it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can't get a nursing degree from ChatGPT, but
No,
you can from
cannot.
SUU, right?
Yeah, but you can from SEO.
Yeah, you can.
I love that. Yeah.
But it's a great tool. And yeah, it's just, if you are motivated, right? If you've got the drive within yourself to go out and seek out information and try to learn a new skill set, it's never been easier than it is right now to go and do that. Even right now, where I'm at with fighting and everything, I have coaches, I have training partners, I have people that are giving me instruction on a regular basis, but to act like the internet is not a resource right now to watch instructionals on, there's apps like BJJ Fanatics or, these different dynamic striking, stuff like that, where I can go learn from people that are world class in their discipline. That's an incredible resource. Watch YouTube videos, watch stuff on Instagram. Oh, who's that guy? And you start to research him a little bit more. And, there's a lot of coaches that I've never met before that have influenced my training style and coaching style tremendously. So
yeah, no, it's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
Josiah, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
appreciate
Rob.
your time.
Yeah.
This has been phenomenal. Thank you, everybody out there, for tuning in. Have a great day. Okay.
Right.
Man, that was great.
Hey, yeah, super
thank you so
cool.
much. Thank
Man,
you,
that's
YouTube.
awesome.
We're still on that for a second. I've got to get this to stop. Where's my... There. Oh, here we go. Cheers, YouTube. You take care.